there is one thing that we should know while we study this topic, just small instruction. Two, three things, in fact, which I tell every batch before I start this topic, which is important to know. Nobody in the world knows how to control inflation. One line answer. So if somebody asks you after the lecture how to control inflation, give a smile but don't give an answer. Because I'm telling you this, if anybody knew how to control inflation, they would win a Nobel Prize. I tell this to everyone. And the day I also know it, I'll also win a Nobel Prize. So anyone who tells you with confidence, this is how you control inflation, tell them, write a research paper, submit it to US, IMF. You'll get a Nobel Prize within 1 year. So that's the first thing that we should know. We have to set our expectations right, that this is an ongoing field where there has been no concrete research. People are trying, but nobody has been able to come up with any formula, any logic, any explanation to control inflation. Which means whenever you ask an economist or anybody how to control inflation, you'll get multiple answers. And every answer can be tried, every answer can be a potentially correct answer. So there is nothing wrong. That's number one. Number two, so if somebody says that, this method is better than that method, nobody knows. Because every time you try one method, you will come up with 5 others. So nobody really knows. So that's number one. Number two, inflation is a topic. I have deliberately selected inflation for today. I wanted to actually start balance of payment. But then I realized that nobody can understand balance of payment, exchange rate system, banking without understanding what inflation is. So then ultimately I had to decide whether I want to teach balance of payment, banking or inflation first. I realized that if we understand inflation first, it's so easy to understand all other topics. However, there is one caveat, one glitch. The glitch is that to be able to understand inflation to the extent of 100%, one has to learn 3 topics. One is inflation, one is balance of payments, because their currency also comes from balance of payment, dollar, rupee, dollar. So inflation, balance of payment, and then capital market. So if you understand these 3 things and banking, one who understands these topics, inflation, balance of payment, capital market, and as I told you, banking, these topics have to be understood together. So if you are just doing inflation, obviously we have to start somewhere. In one lecture, you cannot do these 4 topics. You have to pick one topic and say, chalo, let's start from here, and the remaining 3 topics can be done in that sequence. So once we do that circle of topics which I told you, starting from inflation, then the understanding of inflation becomes complete. Before that, there would always be a sense of incompleteness that I have missed something. I have missed something. This will always be there because I tell you, for example, the moment we start to see what is inflation, immediately a question will come to us at the end of the lecture. How about what in case of exports, balance of payments? Then it comes in our mind that what if RBI does this, banking? What if foreigners come to India with dollars, capital market? So inflation can be understood to the extent of almost 100% nobody can understand any topic, humanly impossible. So to the extent of 99% you can understand inflation only after completing all these topics. So there would be some gaps when you study this. Those gaps can be filled only when we do those topics. But then there is a jugaad. The jugaad is that wherever I feel that banking is required to understand inflation, we'll take a pause in the class. And I'm not assuming that you have done everything. That's why I asked you that whether you have done economics, and many hands, almost more than a dozen, I could count. You have said that you have not studied economics before, which means I cannot assume that you know banking. So I'll assume that you are starting. That's the best way to learn. So whenever I feel that banking will be required, we'll take a pause and I'll go into banking, only the relevant part, at a very basic level. We'll do the basics and then we'll use it here. And when we start to do banking, we'll do it exhaustively. That's the jugaad I found. This way we can fill the gaps and we can understand inflation to the extent of 90% in the class in next 2-3 days. And after that, when we take a balance of payment, etc., banking, then life will become easy. So that's what we will do. So during the lecture, if you have something where you feel, missing, and if I tell you that wait for 3-4 more lectures, you should understand it is related to next topic. This is how it will be, Now, this is a topic which is typically prelims oriented topic. In mains, they asked the question because India has been constantly suffering from food inflation. So they asked this question from newspaper that why India is suffering from that. I don't want to flaunt it, but then information also has to be passed on to you. So the information is that since last at least 5 years, I'm teaching this topic. I have seen almost every question coming from only two sources, either these PPTs or newspaper. There is no third source. So I have always seen this. Textbooks not required because this is a very current topic, things change. So which means that if you are doing this with me here in the classroom, anybody who will teach you this content, doesn't matter who, person does not matter, content matters. Anybody who will teach you this content, almost you can be assured that you can answer a question from inflation, almost guaranteed. But you have to pay attention to the class, that's it. So in this topic, we'll be doing more of MCQs, and hardly a few mains question, but mostly MCQs. So the nature of the topic is different. Here speaking is less, understanding has to be more. Here writing has to be little normal, but formulas will be more, technicalities will be more. So whenever there is more technicality, the topic is very easy. Because it doesn't put a burden on the mind. It's like A plus B is equal to C, simple. That kind of topic, right? So please give a title, inflation. Easily. Acha, this question, 2016, yes. So one of your friends, Manu, has mentioned that in UPSC essay, there was this question that near jobless growth in India, an anomaly or outcome of economic reforms. Essay 1,000 word, you can easily write. Because we have done the pre-reform, we have done the post-reform in our analysis. And we spent a lot of time in doing that. 100% in 1,000 words you can write. You are ready to write. So good. Now please write inflation. Now for at least half an hour, please put full focus in the class. No here and there, nothing. After that, easy, relax, but half an hour is very important. First half an hour. Because many of you said you are starting for the first time. So inflation. Write a question, please. Define the following terms. Define the following terms. And remember, we are preparing for UPSC. So it has to be like this. Define the following terms. Please write. Number one, sectoral inflation. Define the following terms. Sectoral inflation. Number two, general inflation. General inflation or inflation. General inflation or inflation. Third, imported inflation. And I will do the current affairs and new development related to inflation after I complete all these basic things with you. I don't want to mix everything, it will be a problem. So sectoral inflation, general inflation or inflation, imported inflation. Next, dearness allowance. UPSC's favorite, huh? Dearness allowance, also called as wage indexation. Wage indexation. And for the first time in the class, I'll touch upon microeconomics NCERT, which is normal price or equilibrium price. Normal price or equilibrium price. Normal price or equilibrium price. Before we start, one suggestion to you for planning the day. This topic, next 2 hours that I'm going to take with you will be very light because around 10:45 even I will start my next lecture today with a GS batch. So I'll teach you till around 10:30, somewhere around that. After that, if you have any doubts, you clarify, then you leave. But make sure that when you leave, after that, you start studying other subjects. Because I will teach you this in such a style that you don't have to go home and revise at all today. Before going to your bed, you just need to open the pages, see through it, and you will be able to understand. Use your day effectively for other things the moment your class is over. Do not waste time. Because now, if you look at the calendar, it's almost time that we increase the tempo, clear the backlogs, and be ready for the exam. This is the perfect time. This is the time when the people who actually make through the list and don't make through the list, this depends on how you utilize these remaining 2 months. Because if you use it properly, you will be ready for mains also, prelims also. It's UPSC, it's not prelims. You have to clear UPSC. For prelims, though, it's very easy. Cut down the content to half, you qualify prelims. But it's never about prelims. It's about UPSC. So if you have to be UPSC ready, then these 2 months that you have got in your hand has to be used effectively. Every second you have to sweat it out. So nothing less than that. You don't need to have regrets after 10 years that wish I had done that. So this is very bad situation. So we can't do that. We have to be positive and we have to make use of every second from today onwards in everything related to UPSC, be it polity, history, geography, economy. How can I make your life a little easy? By doing this, that in the class we'll try to do it in such a way that number of revisions at home will be minimized. MCQs to be done in the class, mains answer will do. So that at home you are literally free. So, but the condition is these 2.5 hours or 3 hours, whenever you are with me, you have to give your 100%. After that, you don't need to study the subject at all. Ab karke dekhna, today you try it, give your 100%, and after the class, you don't need to open the book. Chalo, let's try. So guys, that's your story. Now don't write anything. First, I'll speak for 10-15 minutes, tell you the scenario, then we'll start to study, right? See, what is the scenario? Scenario is this. This story fits almost everything related to inflation. So see, there's this innocent kid like you. What is this kid doing? This kid goes for morning walk every day, right? And where does this kid go? This kid goes to the outskirts of Delhi. So for example, we are in Karol Bagh area. If you travel almost 15 kilometers to 20 kilometers every day, you will reach a place where you will see that this type of, dairy farming, etc. exists very close to the border areas of Delhi. So now this kid has a habit that every morning the kid goes to the outskirts, and this person has a agricultural land as well where he's practicing cropping, but at the same time dairy farming also. Why? Because what percentage of farmers in India are small and marginal? 89.4%. I will answer all your question to us then, because in between, if I take a break, फिर problem will happen. फिर some important point will mess up. So hold on, please. Have patience. I'm not running away anywhere. But if 1 or 2 point goes away, then you understand in UPSC prelims what can be the result. Don't do that. So this is 89.4%. 89.4% farmers are small and marginal farmers. That's why they have to do these kind of activities. So when this kid reaches this farmer, the kid says, "The farmer, can I have 1 liter of milk?" So the farmer says yes, and the price is, let's say, 50 rupees per liter. Every day 50 rupees per liter. On one occasion, there is a problem. Today when the kid went there and told the farmer that, "Farmer, can you give the milk 1 liter?" He says yes. Immediately the farmer gives the milk and says, "Sorry, today 55 rupees. What is the percentage increase in price? CSAT? So 50 rupees milk has become 55 rupees per liter. Percentage increase? 10%. 10%. So 50 becomes 55, 10%. Simple. So now he says that, "I'm not happy. Why did you increase the price?" So farmer says, "Not my fault, because the price of the animal feed means food of the animal, that has increased. Main kya karu, what can I do?" So this kid says that, "Okay, I understand. It's not your fault. It's fine." So price has increased by 10%. That's the first information that we get. Second information. Now what does this kid do? This kid comes back home, gets ready. Why? Because he works in Infosys. This is how he gets ready every day. Digital Creator Award. So he gets ready and then he takes a cab. Normally, whenever he takes a cab every day, he pays 100 rupees to the cab and tells the cabbie that, "Please take me to Infosys office." Every day 100 rupees. But today, when he took the cab, this cab driver told him that, "Sir, it's 110 rupees. Your ride will cost you 110. He says, "110, why?" So the cab driver tells that, "Sir, because most of the oil that we get in India is imported. We import. Oil is imported. 80% of our requirement is imported." So now he tells that the global cost of oil has increased. It's a raw oil, right? So what do? We get crude oil, we refine it, and then we convert it into petrol and diesel in India. So that's why the global price of the oil has increased. So India is getting costly oil. Acha, aise can I write this? That India is importing costly oil. Yeah, correct. So what is the rise in price of the petrol and diesel? 10%. That's why the cost of transportation has increased by 10%. Acha, see who uses transportation. First of all, this guy from home to office uses transportation, costly transportation. Similarly, this farmer also delivers milk and other agricultural products to industries, where milk will be converted into ice cream, cake, right? So what has happened? Because cost of transportation has increased, because price of oil has increased. So this farmer, when he delivers milk here, the milk reaches here at a high price. First of all, the milk price has increased. Cost of transportation also increased, which means when milk reaches here, it will be more than 55. 1 rupee extra for transportation. So now from two sides attack is happening. One side agriculture, one side transportation. The bad thing about this is that because of transportation, not only the price of agricultural commodities will rise, but this company is also manufacturing pens, this type of pen. But to manufacture the pen, there are many workers who travel to this company. This company brings plastic also through trucks. So since the price of oil has increased, so whenever this factory brings raw material like plastic, price of raw material also increases. Why? Because cost of transportation is added here, isn't it? To my honest friends, right? Cost of transportation is also added. That's why both agricultural, non-agricultural products price has increased just because there is one trigger there, which is not a good trigger. Are you understanding? Now, next part of the story. Now see what has happened. So this kid, by paying 110 rupees, he comes to Infosys office. In Infosys office, he is working on a project. Which project? A project where Infosys is creating a software for Jio Telecom. And the price, normal price of that software should be 1 crore rupees. So now this kid comes to his office and he realizes in his office that it's a birthday of his friend. Which friend? No idea, but somebody's. So he can't understand whose birthday. So he comes to his office and he says, oh, it's a birthday, somebody's birthday. He gets very excited. So he says, it's the birthday of my favorite person. I'm going out to buy a cake. Without understanding whose birthday, he just jumps out. So when he goes out, he tries to buy a cake. Normal price of the cake, 500 rupees. But today, the price of the cake is higher. Why? So the price of the cake is 550 rupees. What is the percentage up in the price of the cake? Normally the price of the ice cream 20 rupees. But today the price of the ice cream is 22 rupees. How much is the jump? Guys, keep speaking. This is you learn. 20 becomes 22. 20 becomes 22. Good morning. 20 rupees becomes 22, 10%. Right? So it's okay, happens. So what has happened here, guys? I am deliberately creating an example where everything is 10%. So even if you are like half awake, even if you say 10%, you will be right. Just keep saying 10%, right? What's your name? Perfect, see. That's the kind of trust you should have, right? So now see guys, ab dekho mazedar story. See the kind of beauty the story has. So now what has happened is this person goes to this place, agriculture price has increased. Look at it carefully. Agriculture price increased, milk became like 10% costlier. When the same milk is sent to industries, price of cake and ice cream increased. 500 rupees became 550, 20 rupees ice cream became 22 rupees, 10% higher. And now when he brings cake and ice cream, etc. for his friend, he delivers it and he says, wishes birthday, etc., etc. And then he's very sad. After celebrating the birthday, he goes to his cabin and then he looks into the pocket. He says, wow, there is a big hole in the pocket. Right? So he's very hurt. Why? Hole in the pocket is very dangerous. It's dangerous than hole in the heart. Right? So why? Because this hurts. You have to return back home also. How do you return? No money. Right? Problem. So where does he go? He says, Mr. Murthy, where are you? Mr. Murthy says, have you worked 20 hours? He says, yes, sir. Then Mr. Murthy says, now let's talk. That's important. Huh? So he goes to Mr. Murthy and says, sir, I have already worked very hard in the office. There is a hole in my pocket, entire money gone. Mr. Murthy says, what happened? He says, sir, you have no idea. Ice cream is costly, pen is costly, coffee is costly, cake is costly. Mr. Murthy says, why is it costly? He says, because, agriculture price increased and everything increased. Transportation increased, everything increased. So Mr. Murthy says, yeah, everything increased. So what can I do for you? He says, sir, increase my salary. Mr. Murthy says, why should I increase your salary? He says, because everything became costly and my salary is fixed. So Mr. Murthy says, okay, how much shall I increase? What increase do you want in your salary? So how much salary increment does he want ideally? Because if his salary increases by 10%, his living standard will be same. Earlier he was able to buy a cake without hurting himself, but now he hurt himself. There's nothing left in his pocket. Why? Because cake's price increased by 10%, 10% extra money. But if Mr. Murthy tells him that, okay, I'm going to give you this 10%, I'm going to give you 10% extra in your pocket, I can easily afford the same cake. So Mr. Murthy, listen to this very carefully. This is where UPSC plays the game. I have seen half a dozen questions, we'll do it in the class, where UPSC has bluffed using this point. So what is the case here? Please pay attention. So he tells Mr. Murthy, please increase my salary to that extent that my living standard is maintained. So Mr. Murthy says, oh, you mean to say 10%, because everything is 10% costly. Two takeaways from here, guys. First takeaway. One should always find out mathematically what is the level of price rise in the economy, because unless you find it, how will you go to the boss and say, boss, this is the price rise, increase my salary? Because then boss will tell you, okay, I'll increase your salary by 2%. But 2% doesn't help. 2% makes me poorer. Because price has increased by 10%, I need 10 rupees extra. Of course I need 10 rupees. So I need to measure what is the rise in price. But this measurement of rise in price will be different for different people. For rural area different, urban area different, overall India different. So immediately something hits me that, okay, if I'm a policy maker, I have to find the rise in price separately in rural area, because rural people consume different things. I have to find the rise in price in urban area separately, because lifestyle is different. And then, because we have to create a national policy, we also have to find out the average rise in price at national level, which is average. Okay, wow, three things. But then there are some people who have salaried employment. For them it should be different. Some people work in agriculture, for them it should be different. So many ways we have to find out that, okay, who is hurt because of rise in price? And if somebody is hurt, give them extra money, help them, so that at least their living standard is maintained. Now I want to ask you one question right away. If you are Mr. Murthy, and if I am that employee who has come to you and tell you that, hey, please increase my salary, will you increase the salary of one person, or if you do it, you have to do it for everyone in the company? Everyone in the company. But from where will Mr. Murthy bring the money? He can't bring the money from his pocket. He's the boss. Bosses never put money from their pocket. They do something else. What will he do? So Mr. Murthy is going to come here and say, hello, Mr. Geo, Mr. Marriage. Right. So what will Mr. Murthy do? Mr. Murthy will come here and say, I'm going to increase the price of the software. Yes, by 10%. Brilliant. So now this will become 1.1 crore. Job done. And the moment this happens, now all the employees of Infosys will get a salary rise. And that salary rise, so if my salary is this, what will I get? I'll get salary plus 10% extra. Now what is the beauty of this 10% extra? Now this one, so suppose that using this salary, my standard of living was SOL. Standard of living is fixed. I can afford milk, I can afford cake, I can afford ice cream. This is my standard of living. But then because prices increased, I had to sacrifice. Either I will not buy cake, I will not buy ice cream. But what has Mr. Murthy done? By giving me this 10%, he has ensured that my standard of living SOL is maintained. That is what he has done. So now there is a term for it in economics which is called as dearness allowance. This is called as dearness allowance. This is also called as wage indexation. Wage indexation. It has two terms. One is dearness allowance and second is wage indexation. You have not even learned inflation, and yet I know I'm super confident that you can answer one question. I'm going to ask you the question. Then I'll tell you what is so special about it. Question for all of you. And why am I excited to ask this question? Because I know most of you are studying it for the first time, yet I'm super confident and you will give the correct answer. So now please tell me that wage indexation and dearness allowance, does it increase the standard of living of the society or maintains it at previous level? Brilliant. UPSC 2021. That's the question. I'll show you through MCQs. When we do that in the class, we'll say, ye question. So what is the question they have asked? I'll tell you how they twisted the question, and you will laugh at UPSC. UPSC thinks UPSC is very smart, but they don't know that even you are smarter. How? UPSC asked a question that, think about it. UPSC said, if wage indexation is first of all, they didn't use the word dearness allowance. Because if they use the word DA, everybody will understand what is DA. So they changed the name. Right? So for example, my name is Jayant Parikshit. Suppose that, something, my name is ABC at home. Now, if my parents come to Wajiram outside the gate and they start to scream, ABC, ABC, where are you? You will not even understand who is being called. Why? Because deliberately they are using the name ABC. Same thing. Its common name is DNS allowance. But what does UPSC do? UPSC says, if I say it, everybody will understand. Let me call it wage indexation. Sophisticated. So they ask this question, that if wage indexation is done, listen to the question of UPSC. Amazing question. If wage indexation is done in the society, will it increase the demand that workers are creating? Will it increase the demand of food, increase the demand of ice cream, or will it keep the demand at same level? Same level. Why will I increase? Because see, prices have increased and somebody is giving me little extra money. So with extra money, I will not demand 2 cakes. Earlier I was having 1 cake, today also I will have 1 cake only. Because the extra money that is being given to me is not a gift. It's compensation actually. So what is the nature of this money? 10%, it's a compensation. I'll give another example. Suppose the price of this pen normally is 10 rupees and I buy 1 pen. But now the price of the pen becomes 11 rupees. Will I be able to buy the pen? No. Because in my pocket, there is only 10 rupees. How will I buy this pen? So normally I buy 1 pen, price is 10 rupees. That's it. But now the price has become 11 rupees. I have only 10 rupees in my pocket. My standard of living has gone down. So Government of India comes to me and says, beta, take 1 rupee extra, gift. That 1 rupee is this. So this wage indexation or DNS allowance is a gift, it's a compensation. So 10 rupees is there in my pocket, 1 rupee given, now 11 rupees, now I'll go to market and buy the same pen. I won't demand 2 pence because I've just got 1 rupee extra. With 1 rupee extra, how will I demand 2 pence? Only 1 pen. So UPSC, what UPSC did is they asked this question that if wage indexation is provided, all of a sudden demand in the economy will rise. Absolutely no. Because demand in the economy will exactly be same that it was 1 day before. Because demand in the economy was 1 pen, somebody gave me, price of the pen increased, somebody gave me 1 extra rupee, I'll demand the same pen, that's it. Which means the nature of this is compensation rather than a gift. When do we call it as a gift? I'll tell you. So when Mr. Murthy would have come here and Mr. Murthy would have told this guy that, hey, see, the price of cab is same, price of milk is also 50 rupees, not 55. Everything is same, original. And suppose somebody's birthday, price of cake is 500. Then Mr. Murthy would have come and said that, hello, my dear kid, prices have not increased, yet I'm increasing your salary by 10%. Oh, that's a gift. That's a bonus. Absolutely. So wage indexation, DNS allowance is never a gift. It's a compensation amount. Is it fine? Now look at the board again. And let's do it one by one. This will give us our first dictation. Look at the board, please. I want to ask you a question. Can you please tell me which is that one sector where the price increased for the first time? In our example, that sector where price increased for the first time. Agriculture. Now there is a very nice definition in economics that whenever, we don't write, I'll dictate all this to you. Whenever there is a rise in price, keep looking at the board and please try to match my definition with the example that I gave you. Whenever there is a rise in, I have not used the word inflation. Whenever there is a rise in price, in limited number of items, 1 or 2 items, in one particular sector of the economy like agriculture, whenever there is a rise in price, in limited number of items, in one particular sector, this phenomenon is called as sectoral inflation. Yes or no? Absolutely correct. So here the price of agricultural item increased, which is milk. It is called sectoral inflation. Now let me complete the definition. But then we saw that when agriculture price increases, industrial price also increased. So sectoral inflation in one sector led to sectoral inflation in another. One sectoral inflation infects another sector, and here also sectoral inflation. But then we realized one sector got infected, another sector got infected, food and cake price increased. Immediately this guy said, Mr. Murthy, cake price is high, sir, please give me some cash. Mr. Murthy said, okay, increase the price of the software. So increase in price of one sector led to increase in price of another sector. So sectoral inflation here led to sectoral inflation here, led to sectoral inflation here. And whenever there is sectoral inflation in agriculture, industry and services, all the three, then we don't call it sectoral inflation, then it is called as general inflation. Till the time inflation is here, sectoral. Till the time inflation is here, sectoral. The moment inflation comes here also, general. That's the difference. So whenever you see inflation in two sectors, sectoral. So when suppose inflation is there here you find inflation, which means here there is rise in price. That's sectoral. Suppose here also there is rise in price, sectoral. But here there is no rise in price. Then it is not called general inflation. For inflation to be general, it is compulsory that there should be a price rise in agriculture, there should be a price rise in industry, and there should be a price rise in services. In all the three places, there has to be a price rise. Then this phenomenon is called as general inflation. Another name of general inflation is inflation. So whenever you read in the newspaper, inflation has happened, technically, they're trying to tell you, beta, all these three sectors, they are suffering from rise in price. Then it is called general inflation. However, there is one point. So for example, if you go to the market, and this is the final point, when you go to the market to buy a pen, suppose the price of the pen normally is 10 rupees, all of a sudden you go to the market, price has become 11 rupees. Is it sectoral inflation? No. Is it general inflation? No. Is it any kind of inflation? No, we don't know. When do you call it inflation? When you observe that the rise in price is progressive, which means rise in price has happened here, but this rise in price is sustained. Sometimes it also happens that it is Diwali time, for example, New Year time, Christmas time. Because of festival, what happens is sometimes discounts are given on gadgets, but in a few things the prices are increased also. Because whenever there is too much of demand of decorative items, normally nobody asks for decorative items, but during the Christmas time or Diwali time, etc., New Year time, you'll say, oh, everybody will say decorative items. So the 10 rupees ka decorative item or the bulb which you are using to light, that will cost you 12 rupees. But that is temporary, that is not sustained for a long time. It's for a few days, few months. So whenever something is sustained, sustainable, whenever rise in price is sustainable, then we will call it inflation. Which means a one-time rise in price, and if it comes back to 50 rupees, that's not inflation. So for price rise to be called as inflation, that price rise has to be sustained at that level or increase in future. So original price was 50 rupees a liter, it became 55. Now this 55 has to remain. If it comes back to 54, gone, then that's not inflation. So if 50 has become 55, it has to remain 55 or it has to become 56, 57, which means once the price rise happens, it has to be sustained or it has to increase. If it reverts back, gone, that's not inflation. Then that phenomenon is called simple price rise for some time, which returns back. So what is the difference between price rise and inflation? Price rise is temporary and in a very limited set of items, it is not sustained. But what is inflation? Inflation means whenever you see that a price rise either is continuous or once the price has increased, it is sustained. Then it is called as inflation. So whenever you see in the economy, I'll tell you a funny thing now. So whenever you read in the newspaper, I mean, I'm not trying to disprove anybody, but since we are preparing for UPSC, we should be technically correct. On many occasions, we see that the price of onion, tomatoes, etc. increases. So normally the price of tomatoes 50 rupees, but today it will become like 70 rupees, right? What is that? Is it inflation? Price rise. But if it is maintained, let's say it's maintained, and again, in the global scenario involved, there is no definition of for how long it has to be maintained. So they are saying that it has to be maintained for some time. What is that some time? No idea. That's why I told you this chapter is very incomplete. Research is not complete in this chapter. So what has happened, if price rise is sustained, in my opinion, the price rise has to be sustained for at least close to a quarter. If the price rise is sustained close to at least 3 months, it could be 2.5 to 3 months also, then we say that, okay, inflation has happened. Will you call it general inflation? If the price of only tomato is rising, it is general inflation or sectoral inflation? Brilliant. You are my kids, you have to use the right terms. It is not general inflation. What is general inflation? I told you, general inflation means whenever there is a rise in price in agriculture, industry and services in more number of items. It cannot be that only milk. Listen to this one also carefully. If the price of milk rises here, if the price of cake rises here, and if the price of only Infosys software rises, we'll say, yeah, price has risen in all the sectors, agriculture, industry and services, it is inflation. Absolutely wrong. For a phenomenon to be inflation, it has to be maximum number of items should be affected in agriculture, which is more and more items, which means huge number of items should suffer from price rise, huge number of items should suffer from price rise, and huge number of items in services should suffer from price rise. Not all, but huge number. Close to 70-80% commodities should suffer from price rise. So if the number of items which suffer from price rise is more than 50%, so more than 50% agriculture, more than 50% industries, more than 50% services, they suffer from price rise, all the three, then it is called as inflation. Otherwise, it will be simply called as sectoral inflation, sectoral inflation, sectoral inflation. One last point. See this. So when you import costly oil, look at the drama of the oil. Huh? When you import costly oil, the first thing that will happen is transportation services will become costly. And I told you transportation is a service. So whenever India imports costly oil, which inflation happens in India, sectoral or general? Guys, service, transportation, service becomes costly. So first inflation that happens is sectoral or general? Only sectoral, because it is only cabs. But then you understand that this sectoral inflation will impact every sector, because agriculture people also use transportation, industries uses transportation, service uses transportation. So sectoral inflation, which happens because of costly imported oil, leads to which inflation? General inflation. So see, this is sectoral inflation because it's transportation services, but it leads to 1, 2, 3 general inflation. So now you please tell me if I'm making a statement, whether I'm right or wrong, that sectoral inflation, if left unchecked, has a huge tendency to convert into general inflation. Yes or no? Absolutely yes. So don't you think that whenever sectoral inflation happens, RBI, Government of India, everybody would be on alert mode, red alert, that hey, sectoral inflation has happened, let's control, otherwise it will become general inflation. And the moment society misses the signal, sectoral inflation will happen and you miss the signal, you feel too overconfident. Yeah, it's okay, I'll do it. I manage. I know I'm best. These kind of feelings where it comes to the policy makers and they become relaxed and they go, yeah, okay, we'll do it. Then the economy suffers from general inflation, because then there is no coming back. Because once it starts, no, it's like infection, COVID infection. Once it starts, it won't leave you. And there would be multiple types of inflation then that you suffer. So did you understand? This was the definition of inflation that we did. So for UPSC purposes and competitive exams, this is exactly how you have to define these things. For suppose that you are doing the same course in a university, you know how the definition will start. I'll tell you. In a university, the definition of inflation starts, which I used to do when I was doing my PhD. I used to teach in universities like this. So I used to go in the class and just tell the students that, okay, inflation would mean sustained rise in price, which is persistent across sectors in multiple commodities. Full stop, thank you. Because you are not allowed to teach more than this. Because they tell you this is the syllabus, you have to teach this only. You are not having that freedom to express yourself and bring more dimensions, because the moment you bring dimensions, they'll say, but it's out of syllabus. Not the students, but the team. So that liberty is not there. Now you understand the problem in education system. I tried very hard when I was there in college that let me bring more dimensions, but every time you bring it, people will say, what have you done? I say, okay, then you don't want me to teach, so it's fine. So the beauty of this UPSC exam, competitive exam, is the fact that you can bring more dimensions, number one. Number two, occasionally I will also bring some elements of polity in the class, and especially in taxation, a lot of polity will be there in the class, because without constitution and polity and Supreme Court judgments, one cannot study taxation, not possible. So this type of liberty is there only in this place, because otherwise in a normal conventional education system, they don't allow us to have those kind of liberties. They'll always pinpoint, don't do this, don't do that. So enjoy this journey, guys, because there is freedom to learn. Learn it as much as you can. But the best way to understand inflation is this. And UPSC has always been very smart. They have asked more questions from this area, because they know it's not given in the textbooks. So let's go back without wasting time. Let's write them one by one. So please write. Okay, first, sectoral inflation. Sectoral inflation. Sectoral inflation. Sectoral inflation. Please write. When we observe a consistent rise in price in limited number of items, in limited number of items in a particular sector, like agriculture, or industry, like agriculture or industry or services, it is called as sectoral inflation. It is called as sectoral inflation. Full stop. Okay, come on, you are smart kids. Please tell me, what is the example of sectoral inflation? Come on, you're champions. You can give the example. Rise in price of any example. Absolutely. Which means if you read in the newspaper that price of tomatoes have increased, sectoral inflation. Price of potatoes have increased, sectoral inflation. Food inflation is a sectoral inflation. And this question was asked in UPSC this year, that what is the nature of rise in price in India? Why food inflation happened? Yeah, price in rise of, wow, let me read that statement. So iPad says that the rise in price of laptops is sectoral inflation. Amazing. iPad is blaming laptops. So write please, food inflation, but good example. Food inflation in agriculture can be called as sectoral inflation. Can be called as sectoral inflation. Sectoral inflation. All okay? Wonderful. Now, number 2, please write. General inflation or inflation. General inflation or inflation. General inflation or inflation. Now, please write. When we observe a consistent rise in price, in multiple items, across agriculture, industry and services, across agriculture, industry and services, it is called as general inflation. It is called as general inflation or inflation. It is called as general inflation or inflation. Now please write imported inflation. Imported inflation. When imported inflation, when costly imported items lead to domestic inflation. It is called as imported inflation. Example. India frequently experiences imported inflation due to costly imported crude oil, metal. We import a lot of metal, guys, for our industries, for infrastructure. We import a lot of metal. So crude oil, metal, etc. crude oil, metal, etc. Now your favorite definition and UPSC's favorite too. Please write dearness allowance and wage indexation. There's no example. When price rises in every sector. Dearness allowance or wage indexation. Dearness allowance or wage indexation. There can be two, but I think that should be better done in the next level, like CPI, WPI. Dearness allowance or wage indexation. Now see, this one you should put a star mark from exam perspective. So if I were you and I have to revise this topic before exam, the first thing that I'll revise is this only. Dearness allowance and wage indexation. I'll not revise anything else. If I have just 5 seconds to revise, I'll revise this. If I have 10 minutes to revise, I'll revise this and then few things more. So keep putting a star mark on most important things for prelims and mains. That's your star. So please write dearness allowance and wage indexation. Likhe. Very good morning. Please write that the salary increment provided. The salary increment provided. The salary increment provided to the employees. The salary increment provided to the employees to keep their living standards intact, to keep their living standards intact or stable during inflation is called as DA. DA means dearness allowance, DA, or wage indexation, WI. Dearness allowance or wage indexation. Full stop, please. Bachcho, I'm not jumping things like I'm not telling you why the government is giving 3%, 4%, because abhi we won't be able to understand. Because the moment I use CPI agricultural labor, CPI industrial worker, kaise samjhoge? How will you understand? So it takes time. So that's why I'm not bringing a lot of things. I'm not trying to confuse you. So we'll go basic. So be with me, you'll learn more. If you jump, problems will happen. So this is the best way to learn. Always start with step 1, then 2, 3, 4 and go to the highest level so that nobody can beat you anywhere. So that's your dearness allowance and wage indexation. And now you please write normal price or equilibrium price. Normal price, equilibrium price. And anyway, I promised you that we'll do the current affairs towards the end. And you have seen how much current affairs we do in employment. Usse zyada chahiye to bata do. So let me bring it when the right time comes. Dearness allowance or wage indexation. And that's normal price or equilibrium price. That's the most beautiful concept of economics. It is used in everyday life. Policymakers use it a lot. So let me start this concept with you. So we'll see, not now, later on. Abhi now is not. Your friend is asking a question related to import duties and inflation. Now is not the time. We can do this, but patience. I won't jump because this will lead to problems. Abhi to you have understood my style of teaching. I won't leave you. That you have seen employment to the level I took you in employment. Show me one concept which exists in the world which we have not done in employment. In fact, you got so much under stress when you did employment that at a point of time you were saying, bus. But don't worry, we'll do the same in every topic. So, relax. So what is the meaning of equilibrium price or normal price? How do I teach this? I'll use this example to teach. So now see, please follow the story that I'm going to tell you, then your life will become easy. The moment you jump and start to bring other topics with problem, hazy. So that's your story. Listen to every part very carefully because immediately after this, I'll take you to semiconductors and we'll compare a lot of things. This will be a very rich discussion, but your 100% participation is required. And since I have not used the word, taxation, etc. in this topic, don't bring it. Because if you bring it unnecessarily, then it will lead to confusions. Let's go stepwise. Aram se seekhiye, there is no rush. Don't take stress. So now what is the concept of normal price and equilibrium price in a very normal way? Let us try to understand. So there is a cafe. Please try to see this, guys. There is a cafe. This is the cafe owner. This cafe and everything I'm telling you will lead to inflation. So you have to pay attention to the story. There is a cafe owner and there is a cafe. Now this cafe owner uses this road to come to his cafe. Look at the condition of the road. So today we are studying inflation, so I'm not going to tell you how to fix this road. One day I will teach you infrastructure. There I'll tell you that to fix this road, you have a model called as TOT. Right? You have a model called as BOT, BOOT, TOT, EPC, LDOT. You have so many models to fix this road. But then this is inflation. Why should we discuss how to fix roads? Relax. So this is a road which is very damaged, but this guy comes through his road and he comes to this cafe. Now every day what he does is, look carefully, this is his home. So he has 100 rupees in his pocket. Using 100 rupees, he purchases 2 packets of milk, 2 packets of sugar and 2 packets of coffee powder. Quantity is fixed because if you do not purchase 2 packets of these things, then you cannot create 1 cup of coffee like this. To create 1 cup of coffee of this size, you need to mix 2 packets of all these things. Proportion has to be there. Because whenever you mix inputs in right proportion, you get the output. That's the idea. So 100 rupees mein he purchases this. This morning also he done 100 rupees he purchased. He came to the road, he came to the cafe. But what is the problem in the cafe? The problem in the cafe is he has a coffee machine where he puts all these things, puts the button on, he presses the switch and electricity comes, and through electricity, when he puts all the packets here, 1 cup of coffee is churned out. Only 1 cup of coffee. Now you should remember one thing, guys, a rule of life related to producer. The rule is that whenever you go to a producer will have limited set of inputs, limited cash, limited labor force, limited size of the factory. So every producer has a limitation of taking out output using fixed inputs, using fixed labor in a factory. I'll give an example. So in Noida, very close to this place, in Noida there is a Samsung factory which manufactures LED televisions, LED screens, right? Noida factory of Samsung. So when you Google, you will find out that the capacity of the Noida factory of Samsung is 5,000 LEDs every day, 5,000. They produce it, sell it in India, and they also export it in neighboring countries. So the Samsung factory of Noida actually is exporting LEDs to rest of the world as well as in India. But if you jump to Noida factory today and say, you are producing 5,000 every day, but today I need 15,000, they'll simply raise the hand and say, sorry, not possible. We don't have the input, we don't have the labor force, we don't have the factory size and machine, we can't do it. Had you told us earlier, we would have arranged everything. But earlier, you have to tell them like 1 month in advance. Then they will bring the inputs, hire workers, increase the factory size. So every producer at a given point of time has limited set of inputs, raw material to produce given set of output only. That's the rule. So what happens here in this case of cafe? I have taken the example of 1 cup of coffee. I could have taken 100 cup of coffee also, but the end result will be same. Because somewhere I have to put the limitation that this person can produce limited number of coffee. I took 1 coffee. Now see, so he brings all the raw material, he converts it into 1 coffee and he puts a price of 10 rupees to the coffee. He says, I will sell the coffee for 10 rupees. Okay, his choice. Example, let's just keep the number small. So now that's you. So what happened is you are very tired after studying whole day. So in the evening you decide that I'll go to this cafe and have 1 cup of coffee. You are the only one who decided to go there, right? Especially after economics class. So you decided to go and have 1 cup of coffee. All of you are smiling. 1 cup of coffee, you said, let me go there. You came and you said, uncle, can I have 1 cup of coffee? Wait, guys, notice now. What are you doing? You are saying, uncle, can I have 1 cup of coffee? Demand is 1. You don't have to draw this picture, okay? For UPSC, not useful. But I'll give dictations. So keep looking at the board. I'm doing it stepwise for you. Because most of you are studying it for the first time. So you are demanding 1 cup of coffee. Since it's your individual demand, you are the only person, I'm putting D. So 1 cup of coffee. Uncle says, okay, I'm ready to supply 1 cup of coffee. Oh, demand is equal to supply. So whatever you are demanding, he is supplying. Deliberately I took 1 cup of coffee. He is producing 1. Suppose he would have produced 2 cups of coffee, then I would have taken 2 people here. Demand 2 cup, supply 2 cup. But I have taken 1. So you are demanding 1 cup, uncle supplies 1 cup. Solve. So now you tell the uncle, what's the price? Uncle looks at you and says, 12 rupees. I said, why? So uncle says, because it is 12. You said, no, but I have only 10. And then bargain starts. Uncle says, okay, beta, 11. Then you tell him, uncle, 10. He says, 10.5. You tell uncle 10. Uncle says, why 10? Then you tell uncle, my paying capacity is 10 only today. I cannot pay more than this. So uncle says, okay, 10. Wait, what has just happened? Bargain has happened. When did the bargain take place? Market. This bargain between buyer and seller is called market mechanism. And this bargain between buyer and seller without a third person being involved is also called as invisible hand of the market. What is invisible hand of the market? You would have read this at many places. So the invisible hand of the market is a very layman term because you are studying it for the first time. The invisible hand of the market would mean that whenever you go to a marketplace, that's the buyer, that's the seller, they interact with each other, and it looks as if there is somebody sitting right there at top, an auctioneer, somebody is there who is telling the buyer and seller, hey, negotiate. You make an offer, you make an offer. Both of you make an offer, make an offer, make an offer, and reach a level where both your offers coincide. That whatever the buyer is ready to pay, the seller is ready to accept. You have to reach till that point. So that whole concept of bargain between buyer and seller is called market mechanism, and the invisible hand theory means that it looks as if there is some arrangement which is market itself. Market platform is that arrangement. So there is some arrangement where somebody is dictating this to buyer and seller that, hey, reach a consensus. That's called invisible hand theory. Right. So these are the things that UPSC has been asking of late. They have asked invisible hand theory in prelims. I have seen that question. And so if you don't study right at this point of time what is invisible hand theory, then it becomes difficult because people in optional mostly study this. PSIR? Yeah. So if you have PSIR filter, it's okay for you. If you don't have PSIR filter, gone. So that's why we have to bring these theories in the class. So that's your invisible hand theory at a very layman term. Invisible hand theory would mean that there is a market platform, buyer and seller, and the market itself is the invisible hand actually here. Market acts like an invisible hand. At a very layman term, we can say this. But if you want to make it very sophisticated, like at a very high level, the political economy, then we would use various other terms, like an auctioneer, like a market mechanism, where you make payoffs, offer. But wo sab nahi karna. For GS, we don't have to do all that. For GS, buyer, seller, market platform. That market platform is the invisible hand. So now, your demand is equal to 1 cup, supply is equal to 1 cup. And what is the price, bacho? What is the final price decided? 10 rupees. So now, I'm going to make one statement. You tell me online and offline if I'm right or wrong. The price which is decided, whenever demand and supply balance each other, matlab demand is equal to supply. So the price which is decided when demand is exactly equal to supply is called as equilibrium price. Right or wrong? Yeah, this is equilibrium price. Equilibrium means it is demand and supply are equated. Can I call it a normal price also, that normally this happens every day in the market? Yeah, it is also called normal price. Can I also call it as market clearing price? Because at this price, whatever is being demanded, the supplier is supplying and his stock is cleared. So can I call it as market clearing price? 100% yes. So let me show you that. Abhi don't write because I am yet to show you the other sides of it. Ye dekho. See guys, demand, supply. Demand is 1 cup, supply is 1 cup, and what is the price which is decided? 10 rupees. So whenever demand is equal to supply, whatever is the price which is decided, it is also called as outcome price. Whatever is the price decided is called equilibrium price, normal price, market clearing price, MCP, market clearing price. Where do we use this theory? We use this theory when we study agriculture and we study a concept called as MSP. There we use the same theory. So if you understand this today, when I teach you agriculture, you'll play with that idea. You'll say, I know it. That's how you study normal price. And by the way, let me inform you, you should be very happy knowing this. This has been asked twice in UPSC, prelims. And when we do a lot of MCQs because this topic is MCQ oriented, we'll do all those PYQs. So when I show you these questions one by one, then you'll realize, hey, this also has been asked. So UPSC has been picking points from here. This, amazing. I mean, these are the concepts which is being picked. So that's number one, right? Number two, Come back here again, please. Your friend is saying my mother uses bargain theory in the market. Invisible hand? Right. So, and whenever our mother or parents or father, they and the, let's say, vegetable vendor, they arrive at a particular price. In future, now you will know that whenever they argue and bargain and arrive at a particular price, that price will be called as normal price or market clearing price or equilibrium price. Because they have arrived at a particular price. But one condition is there. Demand has to be equal to supply. Now let me show you the other side. Absolutely. Your friend is saying that is Karol Bagh an example of invisible hand? Of course, yes. Karol Bagh, Rajendra Nagar, CP, Connaught Place, your favorite shopping malls, they are all invisible hand. Now let's come back here, please. UPSC. So now since you like the coffee, what will you do? You will come here with two more friends. So that's you, that's your friend number one, friend number two, three friends. You are inviting all the three friends and saying, chalo, let's have coffee here. And by the way, you never knew that this uncle is producing only one coffee every day. His production will be limited, but you never know. How would you know what is going inside it? So you took your three friends here because you took a normal bus or an e-rickshaw, you came here, you paid fare also, you use metro train also. You have spent money to come here. When you come here, you tell uncle, can we have coffee? Uncle says, how many people? So then you tell three. Uncle says, do you have money? So yes. Then uncle says, do you like my coffee? Then you tell, of course, that's the reason I came. Are you saying the reasons now? You have to like the product also. You have to be loyal to the product. You are saying, yeah, I'm loyal to I like the coffee. Uncle says, okay, cool. So, but beta, I don't have more than one cup of coffee. You are saying, wait. We need three. So, you need one, D1. D1 means demand one cup of coffee. Second, demand two. Third, demand three. So, you are saying, uncle, we need three. Uncle says, beta, I have only one. So now what has happened is, aggregate means addition, when you add something. So add the demand of yours demand, your friend's demand, your friend ka friend demand. This is called aggregate demand. So aggregate demand of the cup of coffee is 3, but aggregate supply, matlab total supply is only 1. Demand greater than supply. I am that uncle. You are that kid. What do you think I will do with you? Increase the production. Why will I increase the production? Because I don't have inputs and I didn't know 3 people are coming. In short term, you cannot increase the production because I had no idea 3 people are coming. I gave you the example of Samsung factory. But one thing you have missed. See, I told you that the teaching style is slightly different. When I tell you these off stories, no, it looks like, what is he saying? That's a theory basically. When I told you the Samsung ka example, that was a theory that Samsung is producing 5,000 LEDs. If you go to Samsung today and say, I need 15,000, they won't give you. They simply deny. They will say, nah, I can't because I don't have inputs. That's the theory. That in short term, producers cannot increase supply. Not possible. So for example, if every day you are reading 10 pages of a book, all of a sudden your parents will come, teachers will come and put a gun over your head and say, study 35 pages. You will say, no, sorry, I can't because my efficiency will go down. Right? Because slowly only from 10 to 13 to 14, etc. Now come back, please. Your friend has already answered. You have already answered. So what will the producer do? Producer will say, Acha, you are loyal. You have come here. I have 1 cup of coffee. I know now you won't return and you have the money and you want to taste the coffee. 15 rupees. Increase. So now see, difference between these two situations. Here demand is equal to supply. Vibhor, are you understanding? Demand is equal to supply and whatever is the price is 10 rupees. This is called equilibrium price. But here demand is greater than supply. It is not equal to supply. And when these two are not equal, the price that you will see in the market will not be equilibrium price. Because only one price is called equilibrium price. The price where demand and supply exactly match each other because it's called equilibrium. But here there is no equilibrium because here the sign is greater than sign. Equilibrium means it has to be equal. By definition, by vocab, it has to be equal. But it's not equal here. So this is not equilibrium price. The price has increased. Beautiful. Your online friend has said, and you have used the very right term. Had you used inflation, I would have told you, but I didn't use the word inflation. Why did you use it? So now what has happened? Good use of term. What has happened here? Demand is greater than supply, price has increased. And now this uncle says, wow, my coffee is in demand. Increase the price and keep it 15 only. Price increase permanently. Because once price increases, the tendency of the price is price gets sticky. Sticky means it sticks. And price has a very bad habit. It sticks with a particular range. So since the price has become 15, it will not come below 15. Because now the uncle will say, now since they are paying, why should I reduce the price? Because a message will go in the market now that this cup of coffee is very good, 15 rupees is the price. What is this price called as? Because price has become 15 and it is sticking at 15. It's not coming down now. Permanent increase has happened, sustained. What will you call it as? Can you call it very loosely? Can you call it as inflation? Yeah, yes. Just like in newspapers, whenever you see that the price of tomato increases, what does the newspaper write? Inflation has happened in the economy. Very loosely. Similarly, when the price of tomatoes, potatoes will rise, they will never say sectoral inflation. Show me one newspaper which uses the word sectoral inflation. Not even one. Google you will not find. They will write inflation. Because the moment they write sectoral inflation, normal people who read newspaper will stop buying the paper. They will say something new has come, why should I put my head under pressure? Because it is meant for mass consumption. Manas, don't use that term. Manas is giving me the exact technical answer. Abhi to padhaya nahi ho. Give me normal answer. Normal answer is, it looks like inflation. Inflation means sustained rise in price, permanent rise in price has happened. That's inflation. So, let me show you. Very loosely, just like newspapers do. See, demand and supply. Whenever demand is equal to supply, whatever is the price is called as equilibrium price. What is the beauty of equilibrium price? The beauty of equilibrium price is this. This is called equilibrium price. But what has happened in our case? Demand 3, supply 1. So what has happened? Demand is greater than supply. Whenever demand is greater than supply, the supplier has a bad tendency. Supplier always wants to exploit the market. So they will increase the price. Price has become 10 has become 15. So this price, which is this price, is greater than, and this price was equilibrium price. This price is P, but this was equilibrium price, EP. So this price is greater than equilibrium price. Why? Because this price is 15, equilibrium price is 10. So whenever your current market price is greater than equilibrium price, this phenomenon is called as inflation. Abhi we are not writing which inflation, that inflation. I told you that you would have caught the teaching style by now, that we become technical after some time. Pehle basics have to be clear. So price has increased, price is greater than equilibrium price. This concept is called inflation. Think about it from a very general perspective, that when you go to a grocery store, and suppose there is only one packet of bread, and that packet of bread has become very popular. So let's say today you go to grocery store, they will sell it to you at 10 rupees because you are the only one who is demanding 10 rupees my bread. But it becomes very popular. Now 50 people have gone there. And a person, 50 people have come to buy the same packet of bread. Increase the price to 30 rupees. Why? Somebody will buy. That's inflation. So are you understanding what has happened? So first thing is called equilibrium price. This, whenever your demand is greater than supply, that's called inflation. Okay, let me show one more example. You tell me what this is. 2 water bottles. This time I have 2 water bottles, which means I'm drawing a new case. So let's say that this is demand, this is supply, 2 water bottles. But demand of the water bottle is only 1. So in this class, there is only one person who wants this water bottle, but I have got 2 water bottles in my hand. The normal price of this water bottle is 10 rupees, equilibrium price 10 rupees. But I am trying to plead you, hey, please buy 2 water bottles. What you are saying? Only 1. Demand is only 1. Now, what will happen? Suppose we are arguing, and I am telling you, give me 10 rupees. Will you give me 10 rupees? When you see my desperation to sell, and there is no other customer, how much price will you give me? 10 rupees? More than 10 or less than 10? More than 10, less than 10. More than 10, less than 10. More or less. More or less. No, your friend there. More or less. More or less. To my online friends, more or less. Less. See, I'm pleading, please buy, please buy. You are saying, why should I buy? I need only 1. I'm saying, please, my product is, you are saying, no, we don't need it. So I'm pleading, please buy. I'm desperate. So whenever you argue with somebody in desperation, you definitely lose. Where is this theory used? This theory is used in Naukri.com, Shadi.com. Like this is how these portals are. I'm telling you, real life application of this. This is used in those places. So where you become too desperate, Ketan, yes, when you become too desperate and you start putting in your Naukri.com CV and Shadi.com CV that, this, that, etc., etc., I look like Amitabh Bachchan and all those things. What will the other party think? You're trying too hard. There's something wrong. Don't try too hard in life. समझ रहे हो? Good. Very innocent kid. Your friend is saying despo. देख लो. Where do you learn all this? Instagram reels, pakka. Right? So guys, whenever the producer becomes very desperate, these are theories, guys. Later on, I'll tell you the name of all these theories. That in desperation, when you try to do something, what happens? So when you are too desperate to sell, please buy, everybody will say, this person has no value. So even if you are too desperate, just hide one bottle and say, will you buy it? Act very cool. Will you buy it? And see, you'll get a good price. The moment you bring the other one, please buy it. Everyone says, Cha, please buy it. 10 rupees is the price. We'll pay 9 only. So whenever, see, look at demand. Demand is less than supply. Matlab demand is 1, supply is 2. Then what happens to the price? Aap batana, you guys tell me. So this is the market price. Currently, this is the market price. So market price will be greater than or less than equilibrium price. Equilibrium price is rupees 10. What will happen to market price? Less than 10, more than 10? Let's say 9. Right, 9. So what do you call it as? This is called as, you can't call it inflation. What is the ulta of inflation? Deflation. You deflate a balloon, deflate the tire. Right. So it's called as deflation. So now you have 3 things. Now we are ready to write the definition. What are the 3 things? Let me show you the 3 things. The first is this. We don't write, huh? The first is this one, which is normal price. The second is inflation. And what is the third one? Whenever aggregate demand is less than aggregate supply, we will write that price is less than equilibrium price and we get deflation. Which means, from microeconomics perspective, sorry, I'm coming out of the frame. Microeconomics perspective, NCERT microeconomics, when UPSC asks you, beta, what's price? Read the question carefully, because whenever they say what is price, and they'll give you 4 options, you have to find out which price are they talking about. And it will be mentioned in the question. They will either ask you this, this or this. How will you identify what they are asking based on this condition? So in the question they will mention, I will also take a test and I'll also mention that in the question that suppose demand and supply are equal, which price am I talking about? This type of questions have been asked in UPSC around the year 2015, 12 to 15. This was the phase when they were asking these questions. Why? Inflation was there. At that time inflation was very high. So UPSC was also asking these type of questions. So how do you write this? Please write prices in the economy. Let's start writing, guys. Prices in the economy are of 3 types. Sorry? Usi ke andar, under that only. So the title is normal price, but under that we are writing a dictation. That prices in the economy are of 3 types. Number 1. Number 1, aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply. Aggregate means total. Aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply. Implies price is equal to equilibrium price or normal price or market clearing price. Market clearing price. And there is a new name which I have seen in one of the research papers, outcome price. And UPSC also keeps an eye over these new names. Outcome price, sab same hi hai, all same. One person has 5 names, possible. Outcome price. Now please put a star under this first point only. Put a star and please write. In the market, bargain takes place between the buyer and the seller. Through a process called as market mechanism. Which is also called as invisible hand theory. Invisible hand theory. That process of bargain is called as invisible hand theory. At a very layman term, very basic for UPSC GS, this is okay. Also called as invisible hand theory. Please put a full stop. Now please write number 2. Second number. Up to you are pro, you can easily answer without my help also. So please tell me guys, let's see. Number 2, aggregate demand greater than aggregate supply. Well, demand is more. So whenever people are desperate to buy something, but the seller says, no, I have only one ice cream, 1 cup of coffee. Too many people want to buy. What will happen to the price, Bacho? Please answer. Very good. Price is greater than what? Equilibrium price. Brilliant. You also write it. So aggregate demand is greater than, let me write it properly. Aggregate demand greater than aggregate supply. Price is, very good. To my online friends, good answer. Price is greater than equilibrium price. And please write, this situation is called as inflation. This situation is called as inflation. This situation is called as inflation. Third, aggregate demand is less than aggregate supply. You are smart kids, tell me what will happen. Price is equilibrium price. So please write aggregate demand less than aggregate supply. Price is lower than equilibrium price. It is called as deflation. I'll teach you deflation separately also. As I told you that we are just doing basics away. We'll go deeper into it later on. First basics. See, foundation has to be solid. Then everything is easy. So price is less than equilibrium price. It's called deflation. So now guys, at least in prelims, if somebody asks you or in mains, they tell you that discuss price. Easily you can answer these kind of questions. And you understand that, what did I tell you about equilibrium, etc. I told you that whenever what you demand is exactly what the supplier supplies. When supplier is not ready to supply more, even if he has it, he says, no, I don't want to sell. So you are demanding 1, he is supplying 1 only. And if he is supplying 1, you are saying, I need 1 only. So whatever is the supply is equal to demand. This is very hypothetical, isn't it? That is very hypothetical. Normally it never happens. So these scenarios are called ideal scenarios. This is our benchmark. Abhi kya zarurat hai? What is the need for ideal scenario? I'll tell you. So for example, if somebody will tell you, beta, what is darkness? How will you define darkness? You will define darkness by referring to light. You will say that's light. Compared to light, it is dark. Which means to define something called as high price, you have to first define what is normal price. So this never exists. It's rarely the case that this first case, it's very rare. By default, like once in a million times you will find this. How will it happen that supplier is supplying only 1 cup and you are going to buy only 1 cup? It doesn't happen. By default it might. But why do we need this concept? We need this concept because constantly we are comparing today's price with ideal price, normal price. Unless you have normal price, how will you say that my current price is greater than normal, hence it is inflation? So to define what is inflation, you need something normal. And that's why we define this hypothetical concept, which by accident might happen, but all the time it will not happen. So what do economists do in the market? Or policymakers like RBI, what they do is they always try to find out, Achha, how many people are there in the economy who are students? And they will find out, okay, 20 crore. Then they will say, okay, how many pens India is producing? They will find 30 crore. So they will say that if number of students is 20, pens is 30, which means number of students is less, pen is more. The price of the pen will be normal, 10 rupees. If number of pen and number of students become equal, then the price of the pen will be normal price. So they will go to a person who is manufacturing pen and ask that, Acha batao, you are producing 100 pens in your factory today. If 100 students come, how much price would you charge? So the factory wala will say, sir, 9 rupees, not below that. Immediately RBI will say normal price of the market 9 rupees. And then RBI would start to make sure that the actual price that the students are paying for the pen is in the range of 9. It could be 10, it could be 11. Because now they know normal. And how do they find normal? So they go to a factory and they will ask that, tell me, if you have produced 100 pen and 100 buyers are there, how much price would you charge? At least how much price would you charge? That at least answer given by the factory is a normal price. And why do you need normal? Because if you don't know normal, how will you define abnormal? To define abnormal, you need normal. That's it. So now let's come back. So guys, I was telling you a story and I was telling you some questions that these are the concepts we just covered. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this part I told you is very interesting, but did you realize that you have already done 2 definitions of inflation? Pata chala aapko? You have done already 2 definitions of inflation. One is sustained rise in price across agriculture, industry and services. This is called in multiple products, multiple goods and services, right? Rajan, you got your answer. So in multiple goods and services, that's called as inflation. And the second definition of inflation that it is, we define something which is normal. Normal, I told you, is a hypothetical concept. It might happen, it might not happen. But why do we need normal? To show that something is abnormal. So when you find equilibrium price, you can say any price which is above equilibrium is inflation, below equilibrium is deflation. 2 definitions you already learned. Let me teach you the third definition. Because if your definition is rock solid, uske baad your prelims is at least guaranteed. Then we get into other areas. So third definition. I'm not going into deeper of anything today. We are just going into various dimensions. That's your third definition. So please copy this. And please write another meaning of inflation. Please give a title and write another meaning of inflation. Another meaning of inflation. अच्छा आपको पता है what is the approach we are following in the class? We are trying to attack a particular topic from all the possible directions from where questions are possible. As simple as that. There is no fourth meaning. This is the final. So please write another meaning of inflation, and you have to draw this entire thing. On x-axis you are taking years. On y-axis you are taking inflation. And you are my kids. Your speed has to be higher than everybody else. This is point A. You see a kink, that's point B. There is another kink, point C. Keep it all blank. This is how mathematically you learn what is inflation. Huh? Has it been done in your class? Already? Already? There? Already done. You did not. And for you and for you, it must be revision, flashback. What is? You know it. Or all the stories, no? Done, guys? Cool. Now let's do some basic calculations. CSAT practice. We'll start with you. You tell me the answer. Now, I'm so happy to see that every day your number of rows are progressing. Huh? So from there, there, and there. So I'm going to stop there. Don't come here. Right? So general rise in price, multiple rise are a very good power and absolutely correct. And no, Rajan, I told you it's a hypothetical concept. So we start at hypothesis and then. And Pawan, yes. So first question to your friend. Here I'm asking a question to your offline friend. And then I have my question for Devanshu. Devanshu, I would like to see your answer. And Pritha, I would like to see your answer. So 3 people I'm identifying. Your friend offline and 2 of your friends online, Devanshu and Pritha. Tell me one answer. Have a look at the board. I am giving you a situation. Suppose there is a, let's take this water bottle because I'll use this example multiple times today. So there is this water bottle, the price of this water bottle is 100 rupees. Which price? Normal price. अब देखो, if you have understood what is normal price which you have, it's so easy for you. Oh, demand is equal to supply. Which means whatever somebody is supplying, you are ready to buy. One bottle supplied, one bottle buy. That's your normal price, equilibrium price. So suppose equilibrium price is 100 rupees. Now, I'm telling you this, that I saw that society loves my water bottle. And society has developed a taste for it. And I know that I don't have a competitor. There is no competitor. Anybody who is there is useless. So what will I do? I'll say, oh, water bottle, 100 rupees. Let me increase the price to 105. Because there is no competitor. Everybody wants the water bottle. But I can't increase the production overnight. So I increase the price to 105. So now my water bottle has become 105. What is the percentage increase in the price of the water bottle? 5%. Can I call this inflation or deflation? Suppose it is sustained in a layman term. Let's become newspaper. Right? So you understand, I just called newspaper as layman. So let's become newspapers, behave like newspaper journalists. So 100 rupees water bottle has become 105, three of you. So 5% is the rise in price. What is the absolute rise in price? Absolute rise in price? 5 rupees, 100 to 105. And what is the percentage rise? 5%. That's inflation. Question number 2. Now suppose I see that, wow, people are still loving my water bottle. And I see that people are getting addicted to it. No competition in the market. I increase the price from 105 to 112. What is the absolute rise in price? 7. What is the percentage rise in price? 6.6. So, you see here, the percentage rise in price is 5%. Here the percentage is 6.6 because absolute is more. Absolute here is 5, absolute here is 7. Since absolute price is also rising, if you calculate the percentage, how do you calculate the percentage? 112 minus 105 is equal to 7. 7 upon 105 into 100. This is how you calculate the percentage. It's 6.6%. So let's keep on doing that. So I see that there is no competition in the market. Again, I increase the price. This time I increase the price by 8 rupees. And from where am I getting the courage to increase the price? There is no competitor. And thus market is responding very well to my product because market is saying, what a product. Right, so what am I doing? I'm just increasing the price. So don't praise a product too much in the market. That's the lesson. So 8 rupees and then 7.1%. 120 becomes 130, 8.3. This is successive rise in rate of price. So here the price increased by 5%, their price increased 6.6, 7.1, 8.3. Question to 3 of you. So Devanshu, Pritha, and one question for you. Can you please tell me here in this range A to B, what has happened to absolute price overall? Absolute prices are rising or falling? Here is the absolute price, 5, 7, 8. Absolute prices are rising or falling? Rising. Acha batao, this is correct. Absolute prices are rising. What about this? Rate of price rise. Rate of price rise is rising. You didn't answer. Rate of price rise. Rate of price rise. Rate of price rise. Rate of price rise. Rising. Absolutely. So here rate of price is 5%, but here same amount 6.6%. This is same 5 and 7. So rate of price rise is rising. So now you are with me. Now everybody is with me. Yes, yes, very good. So yes, you are right. I was just repeating this statement so that you get confused. As simple as that. You are giving the right answer. My job is to confuse you and make sure that you emerge out as a confident person. So now you are confident. All fine? Good. So now what has happened? Absolute prices are rising. Look, 100 becomes 105, 112, 120, 130. Absolute price is rising. What happens to percentage? 5 becomes 6.6, 6 becomes 7.1, 7.1 becomes 8.3. Which means rate of rise in price is rising. Now, how do you represent it in theory? What is the literature that you use for this part? What is the literature? The literature is, don't write, I will tell you the literature because you have to learn this. The literature is that in the range A to B, two things are happening. Absolute prices are rising. You know, 100 becomes 105, 112, 120. Absolute prices are rising. And the prices are rising at an increasing rate. Because see, here the price is rising by 5%. Now it is rising by 6.6. So rate is increasing. So how do you represent it in literature? You say that prices are rising. That is correct. ये तो है, prices are rising. At what rate? Falling rate, same rate, increasing rate. Increasing rate. So you say that two things are happening. First, there is absolute rise in price. And number two, the prices are rising at increasing rate. So when these two things happen in a particular region, that region is called as inflation. That's the third definition. So please write. There are three regions. Please write, bacho. There are three regions in the diagram. There are three regions in the diagram. There are three regions in the diagram. Number one, AB. Number one, AB. AB. Please write, in this region, there is absolute rise in price. In this region, there is absolute rise in price. And the prices are rising. And the prices are rising at increasing rate. Increasing rate. And the prices are rising at increasing rate. This region is called as inflation. This region is called as inflation. But anywhere you go in this region, it's called inflation. Inflation, inflation, inflation. Right? Now please write. Number two, region number two. BC. Region BC. See, that's B, that's C. B and C. Now, who will give me the answer? Manas, you give me the answer, and there our new friend will give the answer. Yes, you will give the answer, and you will also give the answer. So, three people. You give the answer, you give the answer, and Manas, you have to give the answer today. So, guys, I'm asking about this region, some questions for you. In this region, B and C, can you please tell me what is happening to the absolute price? So, price of the same water bottle from 130 becomes 137, 137 becomes 142. So, three of you guys, is the absolute price rising, constant, or declining? Absolute price is? Absolute price is? Absolute price? Absolute price? Absolute price? Absolute price? Rising, absolute price? Rising, sure rising. Suchita, absolute price? Devanshu? Rising, obviously rising. 130 becomes 137, 137 becomes 142. So obviously correct. Abbas, tell me about rate. So here, the rate was 8.3. Now it has become 5.3. It has become 3.6. What statement shall I say? That the prices are rising at increasing rate, or the prices are rising at declining rate? Declining rate? Wow, what a beautiful region. So in this region, prices are rising. It looks like inflation, but the rate is falling. So rate falls, price rises. It's a khichdi, it's a mix. I can neither call it inflation nor I can call it deflation. I have to call it khichdi inflation, which means disinflation. So guys, suppose that I am infected by COVID, which I was at a point of time. So when COVID happened, I was infected. That was inflation. So when COVID impacts you, inflation. When you took medicines, inflation ka impact starts to come down, which means the COVID intensity started to come down. I started to get cured, which means disinfection is happening. I am being disinfected. COVID virus is going. So similarly, when the economy suffers from rise in price, that's COVID zone. Rise in price. No. First you focus here. So what is happening here? It's rising. Right? If you focus, you will see this. And you should have actually seen this. Here, dekho. It's not stagnant. Right? So, see what is happening here in this region. The society is getting infected. Infected means inflation. Here, dekho. Infection. Infection is inflation. But what is happening here? I'll tell you what happened in this region. When I kept on increasing the price to 130, somebody saw it. The marriage party, they saw it and they say, wow, somebody is making money in the economy. They said, launch a product. So you have a SIM card and the same company launches a water bottle. Now I have a competition. When I have competition, here look at my courage. Price of water bottle 120, I increased it to 130. I had courage because I was the only one. I increased the price by 10 rupees. But then okay, my courage got little reduced. And I said, chalo, theek hai, 130 becomes 137. Now my courage is going little down. I am no more a monopoly. Some competition is there. So see, price has increased, but I have become little subtle. So even now the graph is going, earlier it was going like this, now graph has become little subtle. 137. Again I have increased the price 142. So graph is again going up only, but little up, not up. So now 37 to 42, 5 rupees increase. Here 7 rupees increase. So every time I'm increasing the price, but now the price increase is less because I am facing a threat. And boss, if you increase price from 137, if you make it 150, nobody will buy because now there is another company. So whenever competition happens in the market, this is what actually happens. So price might rise, but the rise in price is very controlled rise in price. So in this region, the prices are rising in a controlled manner. So we can say that absolute price is rising, but the prices are rising at declining rate. See, earlier rate is this, now rate is this. The rate is declining. This region is called as disinflation. Disinflation would mean that you are reducing the infection. Economy is suffering from infection, you are reducing it. Not completely controlled, you have just reduced. When would complete control happen? Complete control would happen when economy from here reaches back to this level, point A. Because point A was your normal. Unless you reach at point A, you cannot say normal things have happened. So even in this region also, something is abnormal because normal region is 100 rupees. And here you are. So that's not a good thing. But yes, at least earlier you were going like this, now you have come here. So if somebody would say how to represent it in a graph, ऐसा. This is inflation going just like it, but from here, now the increase is happening like this. See, it is increasing only, but little low. So that's your disinflation. So how do you define it, bacho? You will define disinflation with two things. Number one, absolute rise in price, but the rate of rise in price is declining. So please write. Have you named the region? BC? Please write in this region. There is absolute rise in price. There is absolute rise in price. Absolute rise in price. And the prices are rising at declining rate. And the prices are rising at declining rate. And the prices are rising at declining rate. Now please write third, CD. 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 This is slightly different. Here the things that you have to read is slightly different because this zone is special. So please focus on what I'm going to tell you and you will use only those terms to define this region. See first. Now what has happened? The marriage company, they have started to sell more water bottles. And they have started to give same quality water bottle. And now I have got a huge competition, and looking at the marriage company, two more companies have come. More company has come. Huge competition. When there is huge competition, nobody can increase the price. So what has happened? Price of the water bottle has become 142. Huge number of companies have entered. Now we started to say, okay, time to go back to normal. So first, all of a sudden from 142, you don't go back to 100. First, you will reduce the price from 142 to 125. Slowly you reduce. Otherwise, market will crash. Because you have already started to give high salary to somebody, advertising agencies, ye sab bhi to you hire. So now you will start to say, chalo, let me reduce the price little bit, little by little, step by step. So now what has happened is absolute price is falling. Number two, in this region, what did we notice? We were looking at rates. In this region, we were looking at rate, that whether the rate is rising or falling. So 5.6 becomes 3.6. So we said rate is falling. But in this region, we only look at one thing, that your rate is positive or negative. We don't look at the value because value can be anything. So for example, what I have done is, in my case, I have drawn it like this, but actually the price can be like this also. It can be like this also. So when you go on different lines, the rates will be different. And all these zones have one common thing, that rate is negative. So in this zone, only one thing is seen, which is whether your rate is negative or not. And why will rate be negative? Because your marks are declining. For example, let's say in one of the exams, I have got 100 by 100. Next exam, I got 90. Obviously, my rate has declined. From 100%, I became 90%. So rate has declined, negative. So what is happening here? In this case, if you take out your calculator, how do you calculate rate? You calculate rate like 125 minus 142 by 142 into 100. How kar lo? You calculate and you will see negative 12%. So whenever your rate is negative and your absolute prices are falling, these two things, this type of zone where these two things are there is called as deflation. So deflation has only one definition in this graph. Deflation means absolute prices are falling and your rate is negative. You don't look at this percentage. The absolute value we are not interested in. We are only interested in whether it is positive or negative. So here the rate is positive, here the rate is positive, here the rate is negative. Here the rate rises, here the rate falls, and here the rate is negative. So if I were you, I'll dictate this. I would go back home and before my bedtime, I would just take out this graph and I will try to recall in my mind that in this graph, what did I study? So here I will say absolute price rising, absolute price rising, absolute price falling. This is how I'll revise. I'll keep it simple. I won't make it complicated. And then I'll say here the rate is rising, here the rate is falling, here the rate is negative, and done. I won't put numbers. Why did I put numbers here? Just to give you a touch of reality. See, I can deal without numbers, but many of you are studying this subject for the first time. For you to visualize everything would put a lot of pressure on your mind. So when you see numbers, no pressure comes down, and you see, acha, 100 becomes 105, easy. But when you revise, by the time I'll complete this topic, you will come at my level. We'll almost come at same level in terms of this topic. We don't need numbers then. Why do we need numbers? Why do we need to complicate life? So by the time you are finished with this topic with me in next 3 lectures, you will see that we are almost same. So we don't need numbers. We just need this. Ab dekho, how would a question be asked? Please answer a question, all of you, online and offline. Complicated question. Can you please tell me if I define a situation by saying that I'm giving you a situation. Rate of change in price is positive. Rate of change in price is positive. Am I talking about inflation, disinflation, or deflation? Rate of change is positive. But then your friend Pritha, Renu, Ketan, they said inflation. Rajan, Suchita and iPad, they are saying both. So I'm saying rate is positive. Rate of change of price is positive. Rate of change of price. Here, what is the rate of change of price? Positive or negative? Negative. It's visible there. You can do the calculation. Basic CSAT. So I'm not talking about this reason. I'm talking about a reason where rate of change of price is positive. Where do you see positive rates? Positive? Positive? I'm talking about both. I'm talking about both. So it's visible. That's why numbers are required. So in UPSC they have asked this question, that in which of the following cases the rate of price change is positive, and they gave option: inflation, disinflation, deflation, and they said only one, only two, only three, something like this. It's so easy because tricky. No, it's not tricky. It's not tricky. It's very simple. The only thing which is required is, guys, I sense something. I sense that you have already made up your mind that the topic is difficult. Don't do that. Be friends with the topic. It's so easy. इससे tougher questions you solve in CSAT and you know it. Don't you solve tough questions in CSAT? What is this? This is not even CSAT level question. This is easier than CSAT. So why have you kept in your mind that inflation is very difficult? It might have been difficult before you attended the lecture. But now you are in the class. No, it should be nothing for you. You should play with this concept. It's nothing. It's basic CSAT. This percentage calculation that we have done, I can show you CSAT questions which is 100% difficult than this. So what is the question I asked? I simply asked a question that in which zone do you see, suppose I give you one information that rate of change of price is positive. Rate of change is positive. Yeah, here it is positive, 5%, 6%, 7%. That's rate of change, percentage formula. Positive, 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 positive. Everywhere it is positive. What is the difference? Here it is positive and increasing. Here it is positive and declining. But it's positive. Are you understanding this? It's positive, positive. So what is the third thing I will write in my graph? Oh. Even the board got scared of inflation. So in your graph you can mention or write a note. And I will ask you so many questions like this. You have to be careful, okay? It will not be difficult. It will be logic. So please write. Note. In inflation and disinflation zone, in inflation and disinflation zone, rate of change of price is positive. The rate of change of price is positive. Whereas in deflation, the rate of change in deflation, the rate of change of price is negative. All okay? Is negative. Rate of change of price is negative. Full stop and continue writing. Deflation is also called as, likhiye bacho, this is an exam statement. Deflation is also called as, deflation is also called as CD. This reason. Deflation is also called as negative inflation. Negative inflation. Absolutely. Which means that I'm talking about this zone. So this is your deflation. So what do we say deflation as? We say that deflation is also equal to negative inflation. Why? Because in inflation things are rising and in deflation things are negative. So we say that this is negative of this. So this is going in a negative direction. It's very demotivated zone and this is positive. So this is your inflation. This is your disinflation. Can I say that disinflation is the transitory zone between inflation and deflation? This is a zone of transition. From here, things start to change to here. So this zone is zone of transition. Please write that disinflation, in a note only, continue writing. This note is for prelims. Disinflation, which means this zone, see, BC. Disinflation is a zone of transition, between inflation and deflation. Inflation and deflation. Disinflation is a zone of transition between inflation and deflation. Put a full stop. This was all for prelims, but who knows UPSC? वो सीधा उठा के they will ask you in mains, write a short note. So these days there is nothing called prelims and mains. Let's prepare with very open-ended approach, with very open mind that okay, we have to learn the concept. Wherever they ask, it doesn't matter, we'll answer. Please write a question. Discuss. Oh, CD we have not. Achha, sorry. I thought we have done CD. So I haven't given you a dictation on this one. ठीक है, लिख लो. Please write CD is called as, thanks for reminding, CD is called as zone of deflation. Zone of deflation. Zone of deflation. In this zone, the absolute price declines. Absolute price declines. Absolute price declines, and the rate of change of price is negative. Rate of change of price is negative. So what did I tell you? What is to be noted here? Whenever you talk about it, guys, quick summary. When you talk about this zone, you only talk about whether rate is rising or falling. In this zone, we are only concerned with whether the rate is declining or increasing, but in this zone, we are only concerned with one thing, whether rate is negative or not. If it is negative, we'll say, yeah, deflation. So here we are interested in positive, negative, here rising and falling. Yeah. आप करके देख लो, मैथमेटिकली इम्पॉसिबल हो ही नहीं सकता. वो hypothetical situation we can create, it might come here. So we might put temporary on this borderline. डाल सकते हो. Theoretically not possible, practically not possible. It cannot happen. Because when you take so many goods and services into, वैसे तो normal price is not possible. So even this is not possible, because theoretically, when you take almost lakhs of commodities, how will it be possible that rate of change will be zero or absolute price rise will be absolutely zero? There is no change and yet something is happening. Theoretically not possible, mathematically impossible. That's called as impossible solutions, not possible to happen. But yes, there can be some borderline cases on the kink. So what you are saying, it can be done here mathematically, but outside scope. We can do it here. क्या जरूरत है? But अभी तो बेस ईयर पे पहुंचे नहीं, पहुंचेंगे वहाँ पे. हाँ तो मान लो बेस ईयर अभी इसी साल है, इसी साल की कहानी चल रही है. लाइक जनवरी 1 मान लो, क्या दिक्कत है? जब तक हम 100 पे नहीं पहुंचेंगे तब तक हम आइडियल पे नहीं पहुंचेंगे, और आइडियल पे हम कभी पहुंचे, वी कैन नेवर रीच आइडियल. वो तो पॉसिबल ही नहीं. As I told you that this does not even exist, because how would somebody know? Suppose I am a factory suppose that I have opened a factory. Now you would come to me and ask me that, can you please tell me how many pens you have produced? I'll say 100. And then you'll say that, what will be the price at which you will sell all the 100 pens if 100 people come? I will never give you the answer. If you are the government, I will never give you the answer. I'll say, depends. Because the moment I give you the answer, फिर तो भैया I'm talking about my profit, my taxes. Why should I declare all those things? And I'm talking about my real cost of production. I will hide all these things. Why would I tell you? So when a government goes for survey and asks the question that if you have 100 pens and 100 customers, what is the price you will charge? I'll say depends. And then the government of India says, no, I need to know. I'll say depends. Depends on your policies. And nobody can force me to give the answer. So this is a fact. That's why this is a very ideal price. Ideal price doesn't exist. Actually, in real life, something like this will exist. It will always have some inflation. So if I'm a seller, I know that ideal price should be 100. I will deliberately tell everybody ideal price is 100 too. और 2 रुपए ज़्यादा I'll take. We'll see all those things. So did we talk about this zone? Did I give you the dictation that this is the zone of disinflation? Well, लिख लो. If you have not written, have you written? You have mentioned. Okay, पक्का sure. In the graph. And did you write disinflation? Cool. अच्छा वो डाल लो. In your BC reason, wherever you have written BC, वो लिख लो. In BC, this is the zone of disinflation. But you already marked. You can mark it. है ना? इसके बाद तो one thing is left only. That मैं ही exam दे दूँ आपके बदले. हाँ, theoretically possible. But it will be a big loss for a company. So for example, suppose that ideally I should be selling this at 10 rupees. I have started to sell it at 90. Government of India sends me a notice. Beta, why 90? Justify. I'll say no justification. So government says 2 options for you. Either we will blacklist you and kick you out of the market because you are exploiting the society, or bring it back to normal. Immediately I'll go back to 100 was the price, or 10 rupees was the price, I'm selling it at 90. Immediately I'll go back to 12 rupees or 13 rupees. Then I'll say, government, please give me relief for at least 12 rupees. Something like this is possible, and it has happened in case of Jio. So what Jio was doing was, initially Jio was trying to give everything for free. Competition Commission of India came and said free, but only after some time, when they have already got the customers. So Competition Commission of India, GS paper 2, So Competition Commission of India came to Jio and said, you can't sell anything for free. Jio said, okay, then I'll put a price of 1,000 rupees. They said, you can't put 1,000 also. Jio was reacting, Jio was getting angry, 1,000 rupees. Because it has got all the customers. After it gave everything for free, it got all the customers. He said, no, I will give everything for free. So government said, no, you can't. Increase the price. They said, okay, 1,000 rupee. Government said, no, you can't charge 1,000 rupee because the normal price by Airtel and others is 200 rupees. Don't react. 200 rupees is the normal price. Jio said, okay, 205 rupees, 195 rupees. So you can neither undercharge, because if you undercharge, you will kill the competition. If you overcharge, you will kill the customer. So what happens is, if you are selling somewhere here, let's say price is 100, but okay, you are selling at 105. So, or if you go here, the moment you sell at 105, nobody will stop you. Government will say it's okay. But if you go there, Competition Commission of India will send a notice to you and tell you that you please come back. So when you are trying to come back, they don't give you time. They tell you, better don't do this. See that straight away come from here. Which means your zone of disinflation may be gayab. And if Competition Commission of India comes to you and tells you that, hey, the price of the pen should be 100 rupees, why are you selling it at 180 rupees? You'll say, just like that, Competition Commission of India gives you notice and says, justify the price. If you are able to say that my pen has diamond, फिर तो okay. But if you are not able to justify, then immediately the notice says, immediate effect, bring it back. And they'll give you a range that you have to bring it back to 100 to 105, which means this kink is then disinflation. So disinflation can be a rage, it can be a kink also. Okay, and bachcho, at least this much I can expect from you, that if I have mentioned disinflation, तो आप लिख ही सकते हो. Because if you can't do this, then there is a danger in UPSC. फिर उसके बाद only one thing is left, that I should appear in the exam for you, and that would be a very disastrous thing, because then I will qualify. Right? So, be careful, guys. We are not in school, huh? So, a little energy is required. So that's one thing. Okay, now please come and let's do this part. This question, please write. Discuss the factors behind inflation. Discuss the factors behind inflation. Discuss the factors behind inflation. आपको पता है, when we were doing our masters etc., उस time पे we used to do those things which he asked. That suppose that somebody immediately brings down the price, then we had to mathematically prove what will be the loss to the company, what will happen to the economy. So immediately calculus used to, integration, differentiation, some number crunching used to happen. We used to do all these things. But then when you do it for UPSC purposes, you have to control those numbers. So theoretically we can argue that Competition Commission of India will come send a notice. But yes, you can do these things mathematically also, but not required. Discuss the factors behind inflation. So what did we study so far, bachcho? Abhi tak kya padha? Have we studied anything? Yeah, we studied. What did we study? What is inflation? First we studied what is inflation, and we saw various types of inflation. We saw inflation which says agriculture, industry and services, inflation. If price rises everywhere. Then we studied something that whenever normal price is there, demand is equal to supply, and the price goes above normal, that is inflation. Then we study the third definition. The third definition is whenever prices are rising at increasing rate. Three definitions we have already studied on inflation. So now if somebody will ask you what is inflation, ask them a question in return. Na? Which definition do you want to know? So somebody says, no, I need coffee. Ask them, which variety? Cappuccino, Americano, espresso. Which coffee do you need, right? So ask them, which definition do you need? Tell me, I'll serve you that. There are three definitions. But abhi to problem. Definitions are fine. What leads to inflation? What is the cause behind inflation? All the three things must have a cause. There must be a reason that inflation is happening. What is that reason? So generally there are three reasons, right? This reason, and this reason. So inflation happens because of demand, inflation happens because of cost, inflation happens because of structure. Wait. But then in the newspaper we read there is something called supply side. You would have read it. That inflation also happens because of supply. What is supply side inflation? I didn't write it. I wrote it happens, see, discuss the factors behind. First I taught you what is inflation. Now we are going to study what causes inflation. So this causes inflation, this causes inflation, this causes inflation, which means there are three things: demand, cost, structure. Where is supply? Because in the newspaper they say there is something called supply side inflation, India suffers from supply. What is supply side inflation? I want to know. Yeah. Cost push. iPad also says cost push. Manu also says cost push. What is supply side? Okay. For those of you who have already studied, what is that? No idea? To my online friends, this and this are called as supply side inflation. So whenever you read in the newspaper, I have not seen even a single book. Try reading the books. I have not seen even a single book which specifically mentions that these two are called as supply side. Either they will mention this or this. They will never mention this, that these two will be supply side. That's the problem. Which means that if I am framing UPSC question and if I have read the notes and the books in the market, and I know that I have to confuse the students and select only those students who have read it in a certain different way, I will ask a question, discuss demand side inflation, discuss supply side inflation. I'll put a full stop, 15 marks. Then I'll say, why does India suffer from supply side? So 99% people would write either this or this. In fact, they will write this only. Because newspapers tell us supply side is cost push, which is so wrong. Supply side is both. Okay, first myth. So we have to be very careful because now we are entering into technical zone, but very easy zone. Is it okay? So one has to be, that's why I told you that we'll go with basics first and then fir high funda. So first type of inflation which happens in the society is demand pull, second is cost push, third is structural. While teaching, let me tell you which is the easiest. This takes 10 minutes. This takes 5 to 6 minutes. I have to study banking here. So I had two choices, either to skip it, but why to skip it? Let's study. So a little bit of banking, then inflation. That's right. That the factors behind inflation, likhiye bachcho, factors behind inflation can be divided into three categories. Factors behind inflation can be divided into three categories. Factors behind inflation can be divided into three categories. Number one, demand pull inflation. Demand pull inflation. Number two, cost push inflation. Cost push inflation. Third, structural inflation. Let me see how my students are doing. You have written three things. Now, see, what happens is when you spend time, like faculty and student with each other, we have been attending so many lectures, you can read each other's mind. You can read my mind, I can read yours. Read my mind and tell me what is the note I will dictate. But the only thing which is left to dictate, just one point. What note will I dictate? Supply side. So I will ask you, please write a note. And then I won't tell you what to write. You know what to write. What will you write? Cost push and structural together are called as supply side. Very nice, Ketan. So please write note, NOT, note. Very nice. Please write note. Cost push and structural inflation. Cost push and structural inflation together can be called as supply side. Together can be called as supply side. But then promise me one thing. Together can be called as supply. Promise me one thing, guys, that there are many people who don't know these concepts. Just don't make fun of them. Okay, when you go out, don't flaunt this. When somebody says it is, if you want to correct people, help your friend, help them. But don't make anybody feel small by saying, I have seen this happening. Don't do that. Don't flaunt your knowledge. So if somebody doesn't know and you're talking to your friend, etc., discussing and saying, Acha batao, what is supply side? Everybody will tell you cost push. Just don't try to make them feel small. You don't know anything. What have you studied? Don't. Either you give the right answer or don't ask the question. But no flaunting. You are my students. You have to be humble. You have to be normal. So demand pull inflation, cost push inflation, structural, these two things together are called as supply side. Okay, let's come back. Let's not waste time. Now, before I teach you this, you have to come for this diagram. Here you go. Please give a title. Demand pull inflation. Demand pull inflation. Please give a title, big font size, big heading, demand pull inflation. In capital letters, demand pull inflation. You know it already. Let me show you on the board and you give me a definition, okay? Online and offline. So can you please tell me, looking at the board, देखो बच्चों, look carefully. So फटाफट please tell me without wasting time, what am I going to write here? You are the only one who needs coffee. How many cups of coffee will you demand? One. And what is the number of coffees being supplied? One. Brilliant. So what should I write? Demand greater than supply, equal to supply. So let me write demand equal to supply. What is the price? Price is called as normal price or equilibrium price. अभी ठीक है, normal price or equilibrium price. Awesome. What happened here? Aggregate demand is greater than aggregate supply. What is the price called as? So what will happen? Increase in price. Now what will be the name of this price? Inflation. So the technical name of this rise in price is called demand pull inflation. So if somebody will ask you what is demand pull inflation, see what you have to tell them. You have to tell them, we don't write, you have to tell them exactly this. Look carefully. It will be super easy for you, I promise you. What is the meaning of demand pull inflation? The meaning of demand pull inflation is whenever a situation arises in the economy, a situation arises because of taste, preference, etc. That demand of, aggregate demand of the society is greater than what is being supplied. And you know that at a particular point of time, supply cannot be randomly increased. At that time, when demand is greater than supply, but supply cannot be increased randomly, there is a rise in price. This rise in price is called DPI, demand pull inflation. But the moment supply will increase, suppose that there are three people who have, which you were saying, Rajan, long time back. 1.5 hours back, Rajan made this point, but I was silent at that time. Reason? Here. Yes, oh, very nice. Your online friend has given finally one example and she says, sanitizers during COVID. Right? Today you're not coming even on camera. I don't know if you're attending or not, but your answers are good. So now I know you are attending. So I see what is happening here. So suppose that these three people go there, only 1 cup of coffee. So demand is greater than supply. This is called as demand pull inflation. But then this person says, cafe wala person, acha, you are asking for 3 cups of coffee. Let me give you 3 cups of coffee. So what will happen? Eventually, abhi the price has increased. But then he says, my price has increased. Why shouldn't I supply 2 more cups at 15 rupees? What will you do? Now he'll supply the price at 15 rupees. So two more cups of coffee, but now the price has increased, and I told you that prices are sticky. They stick like a magnet. So now what will happen is demand is 3. Oh, why is it happening? Demand is 3. Supply is also 3. Well, demand is equal to supply. So now this price has become equilibrium price. So whenever you go to a cafe or a restaurant, what happens is, this is a very new phenomenon. So for you at least. So whenever you go to a cafe, I'll tell you what happens. Whenever you go to a cafe, I'll tell you a story. So when you go to DU, there is a place which is Tom Uncle's Maggie. Yeah. So if you ever get a chance to go to DU, so Tom Uncle is there, since ages. So my seniors, super senior tell me that Tom Uncle is there since ages. Since Stone Age, not campus. So initially I remember when I was in college, he used to sell the Maggie for 10 rupees. People used to throng that place, go there and say, Maggie. And he used to also sell Bhel Puris, next to Tom Uncle. So now you know what I was doing in the college. It's only this thing, whole day. So 10 rupees, one, plate full of Maggie. Now what happens is, so more people go there, started to go, and at that time it was very basic and rudimentary. It was not even a proper, place where you used to sell. It was not a shop. So your friend is saying taste was not good. Long time back it was. Abhi to obviously it will happen. So what happened? Many people went, and this Tom Uncle said that, but my capacity is fixed. I can give only 100 plates. So then he realized 100 plates, but more people are there. Increase the price. I remember 10 rupees became 12 rupees. At that time we did not understand what happened. We said, why? He said, everything is costly. We said, Auntie, everything is costly. We are innocent in college and school. Whatever people say, we believe them. Everything is costly. Okay, everything is costly. So 10 became 12. And then what he did is, there was a menu which he displayed, and there he erased that price and he put a new sticker 12. We thought, okay, everything is costly for a few days, 1 week, 2 weeks. But he never removed the sticker. And later on, he removed the sticker, painted 12. Oh, wage stickiness or price stickiness, which is prices have become sticky. And now he increased the price permanently and he started to give as many plates as people were demanding. Obviously, quality will be compromised because now he's churning out more plates. So what happened? The increased price became a normal price. So when somebody talks to you and somebody is very angry all the time with you, very rude with you all the time, one day you will feel bad, 2 days bad, but then you will say this is normal only. Right? समझ रहे हो आप? So when somebody tells you that you can't do this, you can't qualify the exam, one day you will feel bad, 2 days bad. If you listen to these kind of negative things every day from somebody, you can't qualify, you will start to believe it. You will start to say, ah, it's normal, seriously, I can't qualify. Don't be with this type of people. Just be careful about these people around you. Yeah? Be very careful. But if somebody tells you every day, yes, you can do it, it will become normal for you. I'm telling you, this thought will become normal in you that, yeah, I can do it. So even if you are supposed to get a 30%, you get 40% marks in the exam just because you are more positive. It happens. Confidence, confidence is the biggest killer in a war. More than weapon, confidence kills the other party. So be confident about things. So here, देखो what will happen. So what is happening now here? Aggregate demand is greater than supply. मतलब 3 people are demanding, but cup is only 1. So what has happened? Demand pull inflation. This is called demand pull inflation. Why? अब मैं आपको बताता हूँ why. So what has happened is that suppose there is only 1 cup. Look carefully, बच्चों. 1 cup. There are 3 people here. They are saying, cup please. So now these 3 people, what they are doing is they are bringing their hand like this and they are pulling up that 1 cup. 3 hands, I don't have 3 hands, I can't show. So there are 3 hands who are pulling 1 cup. I am the seller, I'll say, 3 hands pulling 1 cup, increase the price. Hence it is called demand pull. Because it is acting from above. Because hands will never come from here. Hand will come from here and say, give me the cup. That's demand pull. I'll show you cost push also when I start to discuss. So what do you mean by demand pull inflation? Demand pull is 1 cup of coffee, limited items, more hands who are pulling the product saying, I need it. Seller says, okay, increase the price. So that's your demand pull inflation. But then, what are we studying? We are studying that why does inflation happen? And I gave you one example that one of the reason inflation happens is when too many hands pull the product, demand pull. But the next question that will arise is that why would too many hands pull the product? Means what is the cause of demand pull inflation? So we are going inside the cause now. So let me show you. So first of all, we understood that what are the factors that lead to inflation. So we are looking at factors leading to inflation. 3 factors. Now we are asking the question, why? So now we want to know that why. So suppose that there is a factor called as X. Very dangerous. X's are very dangerous. So suppose that X leads to demand pull leads to inflation. So we are interested in knowing who is this X. One should identify, just to be careful. So identify who this X is so that you know X will lead to this and then it will lead to inflation. Okay, are you understanding this point now? Good. So now let's go deeper. Pehle likh lo, please write. When, acha, you are going to Sudama Chai Wala. You guys go there these days? Wow, your online friends are also saying that they are almost like regular in Sudama. Sudama's taste has been intact, no? Even when I cross this, I am not able to stop there because of lack of time. So, but yes, Sudama started also very long time back. So during Stone Age only. So yeah, but these days you guys are going. This is nice. You stay near, close to it. Huh? Oh, what else is there near Sudama these days? No, long time back, but he's back. He's back. He will never go away. My God, look at this. IT also, no? Your friend is trying to motivate me. She's saying that, sir, you used to have tea there. Why didn't you ever think about it from another perspective? So she's saying that if you want your son or daughter to study abroad, so okay, wherever I have my family, I'll also think about this option. So come back, guys. So please write demand pull inflation. Okay, but due to economic situations, we started with when. Okay, let's start with when. So please write when economic situation changes in a certain way, when economic situation changes in a certain way, because of which aggregate demand in the economy exceeds aggregate supply, we observe a rise in price. Called as demand pull inflation. We observe a rise in price called as demand pull inflation. Please put a full stop, guys. Now please change the paragraph and please draw this box. In UPSC, I suggest that you can draw this box, but instead of AD, you have to write aggregate demand, and here you have to write aggregate supply. And instead of this arrow, you have to write increase in price. So please write aggregate demand greater than aggregate supply. Then you can put this symbol implies. This though you can use like this. So aggregate demand greater than aggregate supply. And then you can write implies increase in price. You use literature, okay? Increase in price. And then you can put it in a box. Examiner would exactly know what you are saying. This is a good idea to write. Now please change the paragraph and please write some of the important reasons that lead to demand pull inflation. Some of the important reasons that lead to demand pull inflation are as follows. Demand pull inflation are as follows. Please put a full stop. Guys, you would have understood by now that there is a reason I asked this question when I came in the class, that how many of you are studying economics for the first time? And so many hands were up, which means that I'm not assuming that you are familiar with the words called as fiscal policy, monetary policy, etc. So I'm assuming that we are starting afresh from basic level. So let me start like that to explain this point. It will hardly take 15 minutes extra, but we have to do it because most of your friends are studying this subject for the first time. So after 15 minutes, so first we'll start from basic, we'll all come to this level. 15 minutes is required to pull up and come to this level. So give me those 15 minutes. Now, what is mentioned here, see? So we said demand pull inflation means that aggregate demand is greater than supply, rise in price has happened. Always remember the coffee example, that 3 people, 1 cup of coffee. That's your demand pull inflation. But we are interested in knowing why demand pull inflation. So there are 3 reasons because of which demand pull inflation happens. Look carefully at the board. And this is the place, and if you remember, those who have attended GS with me in any of the batches, you remember that every year whenever I used to teach this, I used to tell you that from here guaranteed question will come. As usual this year also. So which is, there has been no single year when question has not been asked from here. Almost guarantee. So again I tell you that question will be asked from here. Now what are the reasons for demand pull inflation? There are 3 reasons. Okay? 3 reasons are there. First reason is EFP, means expansionary fiscal policy. I know that many of you don't know it. It's okay, I'll explain. So first is expansionary fiscal policy, second is expansionary monetary policy, and third is general factors. So whenever somebody will ask you why does demand pull inflation happen, you don't have to think and waste your time. Simply start to think, either it can be because of expansion of something called as fiscal policy, or it can be expansion of something called as monetary policy, or it could be the expansion of something called as general things or events in the society. Let me start with something very basic so that you are motivated to understand it will happen. You know, long time back, there is a very famous celebrity in India. He said that I am going to become vegetarian, right? And that celebrity is like very famous. So everybody, like those who are his fans, they started to say, "Acha, vegetarian is good. Let us all become vegetarian." So all of a sudden what happened is next morning, because today that person announced I am becoming vegetarian, So next morning, all his fans, they went in the market, they said, fruits and vegetables, where are you? But by the amount of fruits and vegetable available in the market at any given point of time is fixed. Market was not ready for all this. All of a sudden, the price of fruits, vegetable, milk, etc. started to rise. And then we observed that there is agricultural inflation called as sectoral inflation. And you know what sectoral inflation will do? Sectoral inflation will lead to general inflation eventually. It has to happen. This problem happened. Similarly, I remember that there is one particular person who said, I am trying to become vegan. He said, I am becoming vegan. Vegan would mean that I will never touch animal product, not even milk. So what is the difference between vegetarian and veganism? Vegetarian would consume milk and paneer and cheese. But the vegans would not consume milk. They would only take, for example, tofu, soya paneer, etc., all these things. So that person said, I'm going to consume only vegan products. So next day, the price of all the vegan products, soya milk and all those products like tofu, vegetable, nobody used to ask what is tofu. People said tofu is tasteless. All of a sudden, tofu's price was 30 rupees per packet. It started to become 80 rupees per packet because somebody says that I'm going to eat tofu. All of a sudden, society says, yeah, we also feel tofu's taste is good. So new taste developed in the society. So supply was limited, demand very high. So what happened? Demand pull inflation happened. Similarly, we know that I have been telling you this since first lecture that by God's grace, we have been able to have a great population in this country, right? Almost like 141 crores. And there is no going back from here. It can only go up from here. And we are a tropical country. We'll make sure that we are unbeatable. So what will happen in future? As the future unfolds, we'll have more people and more people for quite some time. And because of that, imagine that entire India one day wakes up and says, from today we are only going to have apples. Entire India develops a new taste. Apple, pulses, milk, fruits, vegetable, chicken, fish, eggs. Wow. Has it actually happened? Yeah, it has happened in the last 30, 40 years. People have developed a new taste according to Dr. Angus Deaton, who won a Nobel Prize. Earlier, India was eating rice and wheat. Now India says rice and wheat, who eats? Now India wants protein. India wants plant protein, animal protein, milk, fruits, vegetable. How do we know about it? Household Consumption Expenditure Survey. Who conducts it? NSO. NSO, you know it, my kids. So NSO does the survey every 5 years. It goes house to house and it will ask a question, hey, what do you prefer to eat? So earlier NSO used to get an answer 30 years back, rice and wheat. People, it was so simple, rice, wheat, rice, wheat. So when our parents were asked this question by NSO, long time, 30, 40 years back, that what would you eat? Our parents used to say when they were young, rice and wheat. NSO used to say that I don't even need to do the survey. Every household, rice, wheat. Somebody will eat something extra also, eggs also. But majorly, rice, wheat, maize, etc. But now when NSO goes to house, they ask the question, what would you eat? People say, rice, wheat is secondary. Fruits, vegetable, plant protein, animal protein, chicken, mutton, egg, fish, etc. etc. Oh, taste has changed. So over a period of time, since the taste is towards protein, the price of protein food has increased. That's called demand pull inflation. So see, is it okay? Now let us study the technical parts. What is this? So to explain this to you, I will use this example. Now, first example to you, so that you can understand what is expansionary fiscal policy. Achha, when will I teach you fiscal policy? When we start this section called as fiscal policy and taxation. So one of the sections that I'll do with you is called fiscal policy, resource mobilization between center and state, and taxation. This we will study at one go. Fiscal policy, resource mobilization, which is the mains part, fiscal policy, both prelims and mains, and taxation, both prelims and mains. These three are together. This is a block. We have to study it together. But today we will just look at a glimpse of fiscal policy, just to understand related to inflation. Ye kya hota hai? See. What am I teaching you? What are the factors that lead to demand pull inflation? Bring out your left hand. Aisa karke dekho, it's okay, fine. We are in school only. Left hand. What is there? Nothing. I am the government. Keep your left hand like this. I am your government. Imagine all this. And I drop 10 rupees in your hand. What will you do? What will be the urge? Save it, spend it. That's the urge. That's the first urge. But some people might say that, I want to save it. Yeah, but you will save hardly 10-20% of it. Because when you get extra cash from somewhere, somebody from helicopter drops the money. Like gives you cash, gives you subsidy. Government provides subsidy to various sections of the society. So suppose that you are at the most bottom level of the society, which means you are poorest of the poor, Antyodaya Anna Yojana. right, Antyodaya category, which is the poorest of the poor, then the way you can't save anything. You have to spend the money. If you are super rich and somebody gives you extra cash, you will say, I don't need it. So what will you do from this? You will say, okay, since I have got everything, chalo, let me save 2 rupees and let me spend more. So whether you go at the bottom level or top level, doesn't matter where you spend, but you will have the urge to spend because you are getting extra cash bonus. So the moment you get extra cash subsidy by the government of India, you usually jump in the market and start to demand mobile phone, laptop, refrigerator, air conditioners. But is the market ready with the supply of goods and services? Market was never ready for all this because government of India randomly started to give subsidy. So whenever a government announces subsidy for everyone, not everyone requires subsidy. People who are at the bottom level, they do. But when government starts to give people like me subsidy, like if I get electricity subsidy, what will I do? I'll save some money because government says you don't have to pay electricity bill. So it's like a subsidy because this money I was going to use to pay electricity bill, but government says you don't have to pay. So what will happen? Money will be there in my hand. I'll keep looking at the money. I'll say Diwali is coming. Oh, cool. Diwali is coming. New laptop. Sorry, new iPad. So what will I do? I have extra money. I'll buy an iPad. I don't need it. Why do I need iPad? I am teaching here only. I never bring iPad. Don't need iPad. I don't need laptop. So what will I do iPad? I'll buy an iPad. I don't need it. So when I went in the market was never ready with this thought that by this person will come. And one person is not coming. Population 141 crore. Out of 141 crores, if government is giving subsidy to everyone, those who don't need also get subsidy. So they will jump in the market and they will say, iPad, where are you? iPad says online. Then, you go to a market and say, air conditioner, where are you? Online. What happens to the price of these things? Increases. So, subsidies. So what is the meaning of fiscal policy? No, not government. What is the meaning of fiscal policy? The meaning of the fiscal policy is policy related to? No. Policy related to? Policy related to? She gave the answer already. Revenue and expenditure. Policy related to revenue and expenditure. That's your fiscal policy. In a very basic term, policy is related to revenue, how you are getting the money and how you are spending the money. That's called fiscal policy. So what has Government of India done? Government of India has given money in your hand as subsidy, and what are we doing? Our urge is go in the market and demand goods and services. In short time, availability of goods and services cannot be increased. So this might lead to inflation. Why might? Ab soch ke dekho. That what do? Government of India has made an announcement. Think about it carefully, bacho. You are my kids, you have to be careful. Government of India has made an announcement this month. I am going to give in this Diwali everybody cash subsidy of 10,000 rupees. Everybody. Market knows about it now. So what will the Samsung factory do? They will say government is going to give subsidy, increase the production. Now we jump in the market and say, mobile phone, where are you? Samsung says, I'm here. Buy me out. Right. So then what has happened? Even in this case, even if subsidy has been given, it will not lead to inflation. So when government gives subsidy to people, but supply of goods and services have been equally increased, it doesn't lead to inflation. No price rise will happen. So that's why when somebody tells you, be very careful. When somebody tells you that government has given subsidy, guaranteed it will lead to inflation. You should smile and say, no. When government gives subsidy, inflation might happen, inflation might not happen. When will inflation not happen? When supply of goods and service also increases. So what are we going to write in our notes? In our notes we will write, we don't write, I'll dictate. In our notes every time, whether I say this or not, but you should write, because it's humanities, you should write that whenever there is a subsidy in the economy, inflation might happen. Because we don't know actually whether supply will increase or not. So might happen, full stop. Next point. Now think about it, guys. So suppose that I'm getting this, but ध्यान से देखना बच्चों, I am getting this salary in my hand. I am working for either government of India or private company. I am getting this salary. Out of this salary, I am giving this money 10 rupees as tax. Which tax? Income tax. So from this salary, I am giving 10 rupees income tax. So what is left in my hand? Not 100. Let me fold it. 90. This is 90. Why? Because 10 rupees gone to the government. This, my pocket. And this is my normal expenditure for my family and myself. 10 rupees gone. Government of India looks at me and says, okay, let me do something good for the middle class also this time. I tell the government, what will you do? Government says, this time, when you get your salary, 100 rupees, you don't have to pay taxes. I said, wait, I don't have to pay direct taxes. Government says, yeah, don't pay or pay just 1%, not 10, but 1 rupee. Wow. So this time, literally out of 100, roughly 99 is in my hand, which means this money which I was giving to the government is in my hand now. Extra money. I have this also, I have this also. This is my normal, which anyway I have. This is extra. What will I do with this? Tendency to spend. I will jump in the market and say, laptop, where are you? Mobile phone, where are you? And what will happen? What might happen to the price of laptop and mobile phone might increase or might not increase. If the market knows about it, then they will increase the supply, price will not increase. But if market does not anticipate, if all of a sudden it happens, then price might rise. So since information is not given to us whether market knows or not, so we will write might. So whenever subsidies are provided, taxes are reduced, there is a tendency that people jump in the market and they start to demand goods and services. And then you might see inflation. Third, have you ever noticed that it has happened in many of the states of India that government of India goes to those, listen to it carefully, government of India goes to those states and government says, I am going to construct roads in this area for next 10 years. And suppose that in that area, people do not have any source of livelihood. They are basically in farming, etc., basic things. But government says, I'm going to construct road. Have you seen that people leave their farming also and they will become employed in the road sector? Yes, they do. They start to become regular wage employed, etc., because government hires them on contract for 3 years and government says this project will go for 3 years. Now imagine if I belong to that area and my farming is not going well. Why? 90% of the farmers have a small field. So now government is giving me source of livelihood, 30,000 rupees, 20,000 rupees a month, government is giving me salary. Normal salary, 20,000 rupees. Earlier my salary was very, the money that I was getting was either 10,000 or zero. Very different kind of salary. Huge variation. Very skewed. Skewed means variations are huge. So now what will happen? Now government is giving me assured 22,000, 30,000 rupees per month. What will I do? I'll plan my expenses. And now I will go to the market and say for the first time that, hey, I want to buy phone, EMI. I will go in the market and I'll say, I want to buy a phone. Market will tell me, which phone, sir? I'll say, I've got job for 3 years. Market will say, yeah, but which phone? I'll say, new iPhone, Apple. Immediately Apple says, wait, rural areas, Apple. Has it happened? Yeah, it has happened. It's there in the Apple reports. That rural India is buying its iPhone 14, 15 and 16 through EMIs and they are paying the EMIs back. So which means the money which people should have saved actually, now they are spending it on consumer goods in the market. Why? Because they never thought government will give them salary and they are getting the salary. So they are not able to understand how to plan it. Financial literacy is not there, no. So when somebody gives us money, our urge is, the child in the family, the relatives in the family will say, buy fridge, buy television, buy mobile phone. And what will parents do? They have to listen to everything and say, chalo, okay, let's buy it. So now they go in the market and what did I tell you? What did Apple do? Apple played a game. Initially when Apple came to India, they said, we will reduce the price in the rural areas. We will give discounts to India. Now they have stopped to give discounts. Try asking for discounts, see what they will tell you. They will tell you, sorry, it's new model, fresh arrival, no discount. Why? Because people are ready to pay the money. Why will they give discount? In other countries, they are giving the discount. In India, they are not giving the discount. So taxes are different, but they are not even giving the discount. You try to argue with them, they will be very blunt and they'll tell you to go somewhere else. Why? Because they know that every time one person says give discount, 20 people will be behind the line who will say, I don't need discount, give the phone. Wow. So whenever government of India spends money by giving salaries, wages, by constructing road, government gives salary to the society. It might lead to inflation if people use the salary to buy things on EMI. It might. Government expenditure. This is also government expenditure only because government is giving subsidy. And here taxes are the source of revenue of the government. And what did I tell you? What is fiscal policy? Fiscal policy means it is related to either expenditure or revenue. So when government of India gives subsidy, reduces taxes or spends money, it might lead to inflation. And there is this last point. This I will teach you in banking as well as fiscal policy, but let me give you a basic example. Soch ke dekhna, think about it. So guys, imagine that I am the government of India and I have decided that I will give laptops to all the school students across India who have attained a certain age, let's say 12 years of age. Because in 12 years, you are fit to use a laptop. So I have decided I will promote digital literacy. But paise I don't have money. I am the government of India, I don't have cash. My GDP is very limited. What will I do? I'll go to RBI, Reserve Bank of India. And I will say, Reserve Bank of India, because you are my bank financer, just like HDFC, SBI helps us. Who helps the government of India? I'll teach you in banking, RBI. So government goes to RBI and government says, RBI, can you please lend some cash, loan to me? Government of India also borrows money. RBI says, okay, I'll give you the loan. What will you do, Government of India? Government of India says, nothing. It's like I have to give laptops to entire India. So RBI says, it's a very good cause. You should do that. Government says, yeah, I have planned it. I will give it as a surprise. So RBI gives the money to Government of India. Why did RBI give the money? Because government is in deficit. Government does not have sufficient funds. Hence, government is borrowing. When do you borrow? When you have shortage. Shortage means deficit. When you have money, why will you borrow? Because borrowing means headache. Nobody wants to take headache. So what has the Government of India done? Government of India has done deficit financing. Means I have shortage, I finance through borrowing. Deficit financing. So Government of India borrows the money from RBI. Government goes in the market and says, Lenovo, all those companies, IBM, please give your laptop because I want to give it to my students. The company said, wait, but we are not ready. Government says, it's okay, whatever you have, whatever laptop, just give it to the government. Government is ready to pay. The Lenovo and the Apple and all these companies, they will say, oh, very nice. Because now government is buying everything. So when a normal person from the society goes to Lenovo showroom or IBM and says, I also need laptop, Lenovo will say, we have limited stock available, it is going to the government. If you want something out of this, pay a high price, I'll give it to you. They will increase the price. So why has it happened? And it is real, it happens actually. Why has it happened? It has happened because government did not plan it properly. Ideally, what should have government done? If government knows that it has to borrow money from RBI and government knows that it has to buy laptops, the first thing that government should have done is call the companies who are manufacturing laptops and tell them, hey, I'm planning this. If possible, increase the production and tell me what help do you require. Then those companies would have told government, bring me under Make in India, production linked incentive scheme. I will increase the production. Now do you see a connection? Government of India is constructing roads. For that, government is buying iron, steel and cement. If government buys entire iron, steel and cement from the market, nothing will be left. When you and I will go to the market to buy iron, steel and cement, they will increase the price. So what will the government do before buying the iron, steel and cement? Put iron, steel and cement inside Make in India and production linked incentive. And Government of India will help the companies and tell them, hey, increase the production. Once production increases, then government goes there and says, I also need the iron and steel. Actually, this is happening. So if the Government of India borrows money from RBI, no problem. But if Government of India borrows the money from RBI without informing the industries that I am going to bring this money in the market, that might lead to inflation. So are you seeing the connection now? That before government spends money in construction of road, Government of India has launched a program called Make in India and PLI. They have to do this. Otherwise, all of a sudden, if government goes in the market with money and says, iron, steel, cement, I want to buy you, how are we going to buy iron, steel and cement? Because we have to construct our house too. You will not be able to construct your house because I am the government, I bought all the steel. See the problem? So in a society where government wants to control inflation, what is the ideal scenario? First, government has to announce that I am going to require this much steel. Then government should go to the factories and say, I am going to put steel under PLI or under Make in India. And if MSMEs are producing, government should support MSME and say, beta, please increase the production. When production has increased, then government should go and say, I want to buy. So that society should not suffer inflation. Because if government buys everything, problem. Are you getting the point? So, see what have we done? I told you this will take 1 hour. So subsidies are increased because we have not done taxes, we have not done fiscal policy. Because if I would have done taxes and fiscal policy, we would have missed inflation. There we need inflation. Every topic is connected. So we have to do it like this. So when subsidies are increasing, when direct taxes like income taxes are coming down, when government expenditure is increasing, when deficit financing is increasing, in all the cases, one thing is common. Can I show you that thing? I'll show you. Empty hand, subsidy, cash. Income taxes are coming down, cash. Government expenditure, which is government is spending the money. Where? Society only. So money comes to society as salary, Manrega salary, etc., etc. And here deficit financing. Again, The government is borrowing money from RBI and spending it in the market. In the market, people are selling laptops, so somebody is getting the money. So in all the cases, one thing is common. Because of the activities of the government, the flow of money in the economy has increased. And the moment people's purchasing power and flow of money increases in the economy, the urge is go in the market and spend. And if the market is not ready with goods and services and you are jumping with cash, market is not ready, inflation will happen. So this type of inflation, which I taught you here, all these things happen because extra cash goes in the hand, and when extra cash goes, people increase the demand of goods and services. So whenever you have extra cash and you are demanding new goods and services, what inflation will happen? Demand pull inflation. And in all these cases, somebody is having extra cash and that somebody is demanding goods and services. In the last case, it is deficit financing. Who is having extra cash? Government. And who is demanding goods and services? Government. Laptop for the school children. That is also demand pull inflation. Because our government is creating the demand. So in all these cases, you will see somebody somewhere is having extra cash. That somebody is not controlling the cash. That somebody is saying, I will spend the cash. So when you have an extra urge to spend the cash and create new demand, but supply is not happening, inflation will happen. That inflation is called demand pull inflation. So what is the first factor of demand pull inflation? Expansionary fiscal policy. What is the meaning of expansionary fiscal policy? That through these policies, the availability of cash in the economy, which means purchasing power, increases. In all these things, purchasing power has increased. So that's called your expansionary fiscal, because purchasing power has expanded, expansionary fiscal policy. Now I want to ask you a question. My explanation is over for first one. Question to you. Suppose all these things have happened in the economy already. Government did not understand. They started to give subsidy. They reduced income taxes. Government started to spend money also in the economy. Huge expenditure. Buy steel, buy iron, buy copper, all these things done. Inflation happened. And now you are the, let's say, finance secretary in the Ministry of Finance. Government of India calls you, tells you, beta, you have attended economics module. Please give the answer and tell me, how will you control this inflation? Batao beta, how will you control the inflation? What will you do to control inflation? Step by step. Everything has happened here. All these things have happened. So government says, please tell me how to control the inflation immediately. So your friend has already given. First thing, what will you do? Control the subsidy. Reduce the subsidy. Which subsidy will you reduce? The subsidy for Antyodaya category, the poorest of the poor, or non-poor? Non-poor, brilliant. Being my students, never say reduce the subsidy like that. Always say reduce the subsidy where it is not required. You have to be sensitive to our society, okay? Reduce the subsidy where it is not required. Number two, increase taxes a little bit so that it doesn't hurt the society also. Third, government expenditure. At that point of time, it should be slightly limited and controlled because steel is not there. And government is continuously going and saying, last piece of steel, give me that also. Come on. Increase the production of steel. So what should you do here? First you should control your unnecessary expenditure. Then you can go and increase the production. Should government keep borrowing money from RBI? Every day RBI give money, RBI, achha, really? Because if you keep borrowing money from parents, pocket money today, pocket money tomorrow, no, monthly pocket money, not everyday pocket money. What is government doing here in deficit finance? Every day government goes to RBI and says, RBI, I have come. RBI says, why did you come? Government says, my country, my rules. Give me cash. RBI says, what will you do with cash? Government says, I will spend. RBI says, where? Government says, it depends. If it is election time, freebies. If it is normal time, iron and steel. Are you understanding? But RBI says, why? Abhi inflation is there, no, just calm down for some time. So how will you control inflation? By controlling deficit financing. So, which means if expansionary fiscal policy leads to inflation, contractionary fiscal policy might control inflation. So expansion might lead to inflation, contraction might control the inflation. Is right. So what have you written, dikhaiye? Please show. Important reasons. Thank you. Please write number one. Expansionary, to my online students, please write expansionary fiscal policy. Expansionary fiscal policy. Expansionary fiscal policy. Okay, bachcho, please write. When government increases subsidy, when government increases subsidy, comma, reduces direct taxes, like income tax. And I will teach you direct taxes, don't worry. Reduce direct taxes like income tax, comma, increases government expenditure, and increases deficit financing, It might lead to DPI, demand pull inflation. It might lead to DPI. Change the paragraph, please. To control inflation in this scenario, the government or policymakers might reduce subsidies which are not desirable, comma, increase direct taxes like income tax, reduce government expenditure, and reduce deficit financing. In other words, contractionary fiscal policy might be used. To control demand pull inflation. Fine. Demand pull inflation. Full stop, please. By the way, rarely does it happen that, I don't know, I might be misreading, but as far as I think I have understood you, by looking at you guys and your presence in the class, I think you have understood these points. And I'm so happy for one reason. Normally, these things I don't say, at least in the beginning, but I'm so happy because most of you are studying this for the first time, and yet you have been able to understand, which shows that your focus is really good. Because otherwise, what would have happened is you would have become totally restless by looking at it, what has happened? But I can see that comfort in you, your presence online as well as offline. You are sitting comfortably and saying, yeah, it's okay. So which means that you have, it's about your control and your presence, because without your presence and mental presence in the class, it is not possible. Like I can see him. The thing is, you guys study late night also, and it shows on your face, and yet you are trying hard to be awake in the class. I mean, it's a big thing. And yet you are understanding. Kudos and hats off. Because I know for studies, you guys are awake till late night, and you have to. This is UPSC, and yet you are managing and controlling everything and attending a early morning class. Not an easy thing. So very nice. Now, I mentioned the word direct taxes, but then I also told you that at a certain stage, I will talk about direct and indirect tax. I can teach indirect and direct taxes in next 2 hours, but then it would destroy the inflation concept. So, abhi ke liye just understand that income taxes means direct taxes for the time being. When the right time comes, I'll teach you those things also. So, because we have entire session left for taxation, but for now, let's keep it like this so that it becomes easy to understand, right? So, there is subsidy, direct taxes, expenditure, etc. Done. Now, second point, please write. Number 2, expansionary monetary policy. And be like this, guys. Always maintain your presence in the class, efficiency. Expansionary monetary policy. Expansionary monetary policy. This was the question asked in UPSC mains. Expansionary monetary policy. Expansionary monetary policy. Do you know something? You'll be very happy to know this. From here, and here, I can count on my fingertips 23 questions have been asked in UPSC. That's why I'm being a little slow here in this. I want you guys to absorb it. Absorb. Whether you are able to retain it after 5 years won't matter. But if you absorb this year, I can guarantee till your interview, you will be the happiest soul on the planet because you will know all these things. So you have to absorb. There is no other way. So expansionary monetary policy. Before I bombard you with all these things, let me teach you a little bit basic. Let me teach you absolute basic today just for 10 minutes. Or what is the time? We have some time. So because once this starts, no, I cannot take a break in between. So I was just seeing that how long can we go. So I think we can go. So for 10 minutes. Now let's come back and let's do some basics. Here, देखो, this is the basic which I got for you. ये है basic. Right? Yes, Manu, absolutely. That might lead to inflation. So the first basic which I want to teach you is, देखो, he's smiling. He's saying memes. This is called meme economics. Let us use that as well. It helps us to understand a bit. All of you are smiling, huh? So innocent kids, focus here. So that's you in future through UPSC. Good. Now that's your piggy bank. You are the government. You are the RBI governor. And whenever you are in the government, your tendency should be to collect money from as many sources as possible and fill the pockets of the government of India. This is how you should behave. Spend less, save more when you are in the government. What is the story? Now please pay attention if you are studying it for the first time. बहुत ध्यान से. Now see, there is this guy. There are these people. Look carefully, बच्चों. Manu, see, there are these people who have just got their salary through Manrega, through job, whatever, but they have got the salary. They come in the bank and they deposit 100 rupees. Let's see quickly what is happening around here. So they have just deposited 100 rupees here. The moment 100 rupees come in the bank, I'm simplifying it for your understanding, okay? The moment this 100 rupee comes in the bank as a deposit, the tendency of the bank is not an NGO. Bank is a private company. They register as private companies under Companies Act. And they mention in the Companies Act that we are here to make profits, right? So 100 rupees deposited in the bank, immediately bank becomes restless. 100 rupees, where did you come from? So immediately the manager of the bank will say 100 rupees, give it to somebody as loan. That's their tendency. 100 comes, 100 leaves. So when this 100 goes to this person as a loan, this is called borrowing. Now this person, why did he take the loan? Because he has some business expenses, personal expenses. He wants to buy a house. So what will happen in future? He will return the money with rate of interest. What will be the rate of interest? 10%. So bank gives 100 and bank takes 110 rupees back. That's the story, 110 rupees back. But let me give you a twist in the story. The twist in the story is these people give 100 to the bank and this 100 has been given by bank to this guy as loan and he promised that I will return the money in 1 month. Exactly after 1 month, these people are coming to the bank and saying, give our money back because we have some function in the house. Diwali is coming, New Year and Christmas is coming. Bank says, wait, let me talk to this guy because he is supposed to return the money. But he doesn't come. He has already become king of good times. Right. So directly from Bangalore to London. Midway, no stop. So now what will happen? The bank says, oops, problem. Problem has already happened. So now what will the bank do? You, the future of India. You will tell this bank, why did you do that? Bank will say, who are you, sir? Then you tell the bank, I'm your mom and dad. Of course, you are the mom and dad of banking. That's you, RBI, governor of RBI, mom and dad. You tell the bank, why did you do this? So bank says, I got money, I gave it. So then you tell the bank, oh, because we don't have a rule, that's why you did it, no? What do parents tell us? Whenever beta you get a cash in your pocket, put some cash separately, put some savings, and after deducting some savings, you spend some money. Don't spend entire money, and save for rainy days. Bachpan mein taught us when we were kids. So what is the rule in India? Now look carefully, bacho. The rule in India is that whenever you give 100 rupees to the bank, immediately RBI comes here and says, wait, don't give entire 100. Immediately from this 100, 4.5%. 4.5% out of this 100 has to be deposited with RBI in a piggy bank. So this 4.5 comes in the piggy bank and RBI keeps it in your behalf, which means on the behalf of SDFC, RBI says, I am the custodian of this money. This money is not mine. I'm just a custodian of this money and I'm going to keep it safe so that when you land up in trouble in future, anything happens to you, I might use it and help you out. Okay, so this is not RBI money. That's why they have kept it as a custodian, 4.5. And then RBI says, beta, now hold. 4.5 gone. Then RBI says, you got 100, no? You're saying, 100. RBI says, now you also save something in your pocket. You are saying, come on, I am the chairman of SDFC. Why do I need to save? RBI says, do you think it's good enough? 4.5 is nothing. You also save something. So this bank says, how do I save? So RBI says, you also create a piggy bank. And then you take out 18% of whatever has been deposited. What has been deposited? 100. Iska 18% you have to take. And this 4.5 is out of 100. So this is out of your deposits. This is also out of deposits. So you take 18 rupees out of this and then you keep 18 rupees either in the form of gold or you buy government bonds. I will tell you something about government bonds because in capital market I'll teach you details, but I'll tell you something about it so that you understand. So this 18 rupees has to be spent in gold. I'll tell you about the bonds, don't worry. 18 rupees you spend in the gold or bonds or both. Freedom is given. So now what has happened? Out of 100 rupees, see, out of 100 rupees, how much money is gone? 4.5 and 18, 22.5 gone. So how much money is left in the bank to give as loan? 77.5. So now when this person comes and says, give me loan, bank says, I can't give 100, I'll give 77.5. He says, but what happened to your money? You have got 100. Bank says, no, I don't have 100. This is CRR, cash reserve ratio. CRR 4.5 given to RBI. This is SLR, statutory liquidity ratio. So we don't go for the full form, just go for the short form, because when we do banking, we'll do exhaustive study of all this. So just for the timing, imagine that CRR is the name of this piggy bank, SLR is the name of this piggy bank. CRR is kept by RBI, SLR is kept by this bank. So CRR, SLR gone, this money is left. So now suppose he takes away the money and runs out. And now this person comes and says, where is my money? Bank will call him and say, where are you, sir? He says, king of good times. So bank says, hold on. RBI, this person ran out of this country, file a case. RBI says, Minister of External Affairs, file a case. London, where are you? Case. Right. So 4.5 here, 18 here. These two money will be collected and they will be bailed out. Something like this will happen. And if this money is not sufficient, Government of India will intervene through RBI and say, save this bank. This story we will study when we study banking. But you understood, no, that this money can be used to save them. This is little money which can be used to at least give them something. Otherwise, giving them nothing is very dangerous. Because they don't at least give them something so that they have confidence. So that's the reason it is done. Now I want to ask you a question. Imagine that a lot of people are coming to the bank like this and saying, hey, can you give me loan? I want to buy a house. A lot of people are coming. Let me show you who these people are. Person number 1, person number 2, person number 3. They have all come here to buy the house. Price of the house is 40 lakh rupees and he's the seller of the house. Now, only one house available in the locality. 3 people are coming and saying, bank, can you give loan? Bank says, how much loan? So they are saying 40 lakhs, 40 lakhs. So price of the house is 40 lakhs. So bank says, can you give your salary statement, that how much salary do you earn every month? Based on that, we'll give you loans. So all the 3 are IT employees. They are saying, yeah, we get regular wages. Bank says, IT sector is a booming sector, sunrise sector. Okay, ready. I can give you 50 lakh loan. He says, 50? Wow. I can buy a house. I can also buy a parking. So house plus 40 lakhs house plus parking area, 10 lakh rupees. 50 lakhs. He is asking for 40. Bank is saying, I'll give you 50. And bank is saying to all 3, I'll give you 50. Now imagine what happens. All of them get the loan from SDFC. 50, 50, 50. How did they get the loan? They came here. SDFC said, take 50, 50, 50, 50. 50, 50, 50. And now they go to buy the house. When they go to buy the house, the seller says, hello sir, ma'am, you want this house? Yeah, we need the house. Supply 1, demand 3. What happens to the price of the house? Price becomes 50. So 50 will be the price of the house plus 10 lakh will be the price of the parking. So now total price 60 lakhs. And why did he do that? Because he knows that banks have given easy loans. So now when this person will come, he will say, but I have 50 only. So this guy says, take it, 50 may you buy the house, parking not available for you. Now parking will be sold separately for 12 lakhs. Because he will increase the price of the parking also. As I just say, he will leave. He will say 12 lakhs. Now super exploitation happens. Would RBI like all this? Whenever RBI sees that the number of goods and services in the society are limited, like during COVID it had happened. After COVID got over, when people recovered. So RBI realized that banks are giving so much of loan, but there is no house. And everybody wanted to buy a house after COVID because they said, if I buy a house, there will be no COVID. Wow. So everybody went to real estate and said, house where are you, flat where are you? People are saying, how will we construct flats during COVID? But the people said, no, we need separate flat. Because separate flat would mean no COVID in future. Wow. So what did RBI do? RBI said, beta, I can't stop you from coming, but I can control this bank. So what did RBI do? In this situation, RBI will say, CRR, I am going to increase you. SLR, I am going to increase you. So now CRR will become 10%, SLR will become 30%. So every time 100 rupees will come in the bank, so 30 plus 10, 40 rupees goes to piggy banks, either here or here. And you cannot spend this money. Either it is here, you can't spend. 40 rupees locked. How much money will come here? 60 only. And 60 rupees means the availability of cash in hands of the people is less. And who knows this news? This news is known by this guy, that banks are not giving money. So now what will happen? He will not increase the price. Inflation controlled. So what did you learn? Let me ask a question to you. That when CRR is very low, piggy bank is small, SLR is very low, can it lead to inflation? Might. If there is only one house, yes. But if RBI knows that it might lead to inflation, what will RBI do? Increase the CRR, SLR or reduce it? Increase it. So if CRR and SLR are low, it might lead to inflation. But if you increase the CRR and SLR, you might control the inflation. So when your CRR and SLR are low, it is called expansionary monetary policy. Why? Because when it is low, more people are getting loans. Dekho, when CRR SLR was 4.5 and 18%, more people got cash. So whenever CRR is low, SLR is low, it is called expansionary monetary policy. And whenever you increase the CRR and SLR, it is called contractionary monetary policy. So through contractionary, you control inflation. But if you become expansionary in nature, if you start distributing cash, I am the RBI, take cash, inflation. So when CRR is low, SLR is low, everybody gets loan, tendency of inflation. During COVID, what policy did RBI follow? RBI was giving cash to, RBI used to tell banks, give cash to everyone. Expansionary monetary policy. Why? Because during COVID, people needed cash for treatment. Now, you know what Indian state? We are Indians, we are different. We are very emotional. We are a tropical country, emotional, intelligent, lazy and smart. We got the cash during COVID for health expenditure. We kept it in the pocket and we said, God, just reduce the price of health expenditure, please. Obviously, one day it will reduce. We have all taken cash. What did we do? Quietly, we went to the market and said, hey, flat, are you ready? Flat wala person said, yes, we are ready with one flat. Sir, do you have cash? Everybody had cash. They increased the price. All of a sudden, property prices increased. Rent increased. Then RBI said, boss, something is wrong. Increase the rates. CRR had increased after that. CRR, SLR, everything increased. Yeah, it happened. I'll teach you all these things. So COVID is a one bright example. So I'm not going to dictate anything to you today because the time will be up. But you got a sense, no? CRR and SLR. Now, there is one, this point I will teach you tomorrow. This point I will teach you tomorrow. Because this will take at least half an hour, more than half an hour to teach. We won't be able to complete it anyway. And plus you all have different classes somewhere else, you told me last time. So I thought that, okay, fine. So, did you understand at least till this point? Is it okay? Can we continue the story, same story tomorrow? I will help you revise the CRR, SLR also and then we'll do it properly. So, thank you so much. If you have a class, you can directly go and don't waste your time. And I request that today when you go back home, just before your bedtime, you revise this because it was not heavy. It was a simple lecture. But bedtime, if you revise, it will be okay. Whole day, please do not study and please do not open these copies because you don't require it. You are doing